Hi, you guys. I am Dr. Cade, and I am sitting here with the one and only Coach Cason. Good morning. What's up, buddy?
Good morning. What's up? I am ready to rock.
All right.
Let's talk about detox.
We're going to get into it. Long video. There's your warning. And like I said, I am Dr. Cade, founded Life Strength Health Center in Naples, Florida back in 2010. Had a few kids since then. Love you guys. Love you guys so stinking much. What about you, Coach?
Well, this is me, and I do some functional medicine here at the office with my buddy Cade, and here's my family. Hey, shout out to you, Chancey. It's our 15-year anniversary today, and I love you so much.
Today?
Today.
What are we doing here? Seriously?
Yeah, we're going on a date tonight, so with our daughter. We're going on a family date.
Love it. Congratulations, Coach. 15 years.
Yep.
What's your favorite part about Chance? What do you love most about Chance?
Her. I don't know how to say. I don't know. She's my girl. I don't know. Her soul.
Cool.
I guess.
There you go. Cool. Great answer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Life Strength, we stand for helping people get well, not just fighting disease. I think there's just so much focus out there on fighting this or fighting that. Mm-hmm. But our job is to help build health from the inside out. Mm-hmm. We are known as the natural family practice. So I think for a lot of people, health, especially natural health, can be a bit confusing, but it doesn't have to be. These are the pillars on which we stand on in our office. Mm-hmm. And I think that these are pretty timeless. I don't think these will change next week or in 5 years. This is how we're made, right?
That's it.
Love this quote, fun quote by Mark Twain. Be careful about reading health books. You may die of a misprint. I think it's pretty awesome. You know, health is, it can be confusing because things are always changing. People are always sharing their opinions, right?
Well, I love this next slide because I had to have a translation.
So there's my, 2025 change from Mark Twain, right? Be careful about reading Google, or more importantly these days, or more commonly these days, ChatGPT. You may die of an advertisement. All right, here we go. Jumping into detox. Here's a definition of an ecosystem, a community of living organisms interacting with their physical environment as a system. Why in the world do we bring that up?
Oh, because it's all about that system, the terrain. This is so good because it's bigger than we understand. It's bigger than trying to break it all down into one toxin that's killing us. So yeah, we're gonna get into all of that. But go ahead, Cade, take it away on these beautiful images of land.
We're going to zoom in and we're going to zoom out in our talk today, but we'll start by zooming out. Pretty beautiful view. I love these aerial photos. I was obsessed with them for a little bit about putting them on backgrounds on my phone, looking at this stuff. But then we had kids and those cute faces stole my phone. All right. So I think this is, I feel like this might be Mexico City. Can't remember if it's this one or the next one.
The next one is.
You know, when I zoom out on a level here and I see all the homes and all the little worker bees, all the little ants walking around, I think of the ecosystem of different things that have to take place for a city of this size to function, right? Mm-hmm. I think about plumbing, and I think about toilets. I think about garbage men. I think about milk deliveries and egg deliveries from the farm. You know, so many things coming in and so many things coming out, and that system has to work efficiently, effectively, right, for all of this stuff, for this city to thrive. And obviously it is because it's huge, right?
Each one of those blocks, and here's another image, each one of those blocks, is like a cell. And then inside of that cell is a certain thing that's happening. Mm-hmm. And then those blocks, they affect the other blocks next to them. So yeah, that's a great analogy and a great picture.
Well, there's exactly what you're saying, right?
Like tissue.
So this is the opposite, right? So we were so far zoomed out, now we're so far zoomed in, like Coach was saying, it's like a cell, right? Mm-hmm. And just like all of those functions have to happen, in a city, it has to happen within the body and even within an organ system, right? Mm-hmm. And then again, within a cell. So we just can continue to zoom in, and these things have to happen in every area of our body. Mm-hmm. I remember learning about all this stuff starting back in high school and just being in awe of a little, I guess, functioning city inside each one of our bodies, right? Mm-hmm. So I think what you'll see today is a lot of focus zooming out, but it's really important that we don't forget the little guys. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, so this is a great kind of example of the ecosystem, of the terrain, right? We're just a bunch of cells. So a human being is a whole bunch of cells put together. And then a whole bunch of cells put together that makes a tissue. As you saw in some of those slides, a whole bunch of tissues put together make an organ, and then an organ system, and an organism. And that even goes further into a bunch of humans put together make a population or a community. And that goes into the world, into the biosphere. So I always say, to have a better world, we have to have healthier cells. And detoxification is a big, big part of that. So
love it. I think that's perfect. I think it's well said. Okay, on to the next. We're going to jump into things to stay away from, but we're going to jump into how about the stuff coming into your cell, the stuff coming out of your cell, how to focus on that so we can make healthier tissues, healthier organ system, healthier humans. So, all right, before we jump into detox, we'll go through a couple statistics. 2012, I don't know why I said 2012, 2025. Am I really stuck that far back?
yeah, maybe.
We live in the greatest country in the world. Are we healthy or are we sick? Well, our statistics are very clear. Here we go. I don't need to run through each one of these, but we've got American Cancer Society for the first two, American Heart Association for the next one, CDC for the fourth one. America's ranked 37 out of 37 in terms of overall health from the top 37 industrialized nations in the world. Autism rates continue to spike. California is the worst in the nation. It's wild. And I think we are so used to people being sick that instead of us thinking it's just more and more common, we're thinking that it's normal now, right? Yeah. And to me, I think that's the biggest lie that we're being sold is that, it's just normal to get sick. It's normal for cholesterol or blood sugar issues. You agree?
Yeah. And we're chasing symptoms, the whole
100%.
medical industrial complex is based on fixing a symptom, and instead of getting to the root. And so I think this talk is going to be helpful for us to get to more of the root of why these things are happening. But it's interesting that, our country is not doing so well at all in terms of health.
Yeah, and at some point we just have to look through it with a different lens. That's our job today, is to shift the focus, right? All right, so now we're moving in the right direction here. Love this quote, and I believe this is from Columbia University, that studies show that 95% of all cancer is caused by diet and environment. And even though that study was focused on cancer, I think we can remove that and fill in the blank. And I think 95% of all brain disorders, right? Anxiety or depression or Alzheimer's, 95% of obesity, 95% of diabetes, 95% of heart disease, 95% of whatever you want is diet environment.
Amen.
All right.
Autoimmunity.
Unfortunately, most of us don't realize how important our health is until it is too late. Love this quote by Thomas Fuller. Thank you, Thomas Fuller. You are either building health or building disease with every day or every decision you make. If you're eating broccoli or if you're eating chips. I was just confessing to Coach Cason, I ate a bag of chips yesterday, and it was glorious. So this talk is not about being perfect, because neither one of us are. It's just about becoming aware and trying to make better decisions to move you and your family closer to the life of your dreams. All right, philosophy here from practitioner Leo Galland. Just supporting this ecosystem idea, right? We are ecological systems. And I think also what you talked about, getting to the root, right? And our system being obsessed with not just fixing symptoms, because once a symptom is fixed, you potentially don't need pharm anymore. It's kind of more like managing it for a lifetime, right? Yeah. If we're taking thyroid medication or blood pressure medication or blood sugar medication, we kind of take it for ever.
Yeah. Yeah, but, this gets back to the ecosystem, which is the terrain, and so zooming out is so important, because the systems theory, I don't know if any of you have looked into the systems theory, but the systems theory in anything is zooming out so that you can see the 10,000-foot view, and that can make zooming in a little bit easier. So it's whole. It's a holistic viewpoint.
Yeah. I think that's just so important to have that holistic mindset with anything with health. Okay, so here is the strategy today. We're going to cover, when is toxicity starting? When are we exposed to it? When is it happening? what is toxicity causing? So when we're exposed to a toxic substance, whether it's something we breathe in or a different example, we'll cover those. What is it causing in the body? Where are those toxins coming from? That's going to be probably the biggest one we're going to talk about and spend the most amount of time. And then we're going to talk about how to minimize new toxins from getting into the body and how to get rid of the old ones that we've accumulated over the span of our life. Okay? All right. So first chapter in the book. When does toxic exposure start? What do you think, Coach?
Well, does it start with grandma?
I mean, that's when a lot of times people their health starts going downhill as we age, right?
And no doubt grandma, we're learning from grandma. We're picking up what grandma's, cleaning detoxification skills are.
I wonder if this charges my brain to start thinking about a couple things. We might bring it up in a minute. We'll see. Does it start in the opposite end of life in the beginning? Think about what happens when we have a hospital birth like this, right? We're exposed to, potentially mom is exposed, right, to an epidural or other forms of medication to help ease the pain. Yep. And we know if that umbilical cord isn't cut yet, then mommy's sharing the blood, right? Or antibiotic eye creams or the 72 vaccinations recommended by the FDA by the time they're 18. Diapers and diaper rash creams and you name it, right? So I don't think it happens when we're old. I think it happens when we're younger.
Well, we might as well start there, Let's start at the beginning.
How about even earlier, right? I think that this is pretty cool. We'll talk about this EWG study, but there is a lot of stuff going on, and we really thought that baby was most protected when baby's in the belly, but this documentary from the EWG says otherwise. And I might be getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about 10 Americans really quick, but I think I have it on a slide coming up. Yeah. EWG, Environmental Working Group. So they put out this documentary called The 10 Americans, which, again, we're going to have a slide coming up. But I'm going to just play a different video here real quick. Is that okay?
Please.
Man, that was weird. I kind of got out of order. All right, let's see if this works. And then we'll come back to EWG. Here is footage from insecticide, DDT insecticide.
Oh, man.
Kids helping, no gloves, no masks. In fact, you have to wonder if the intention is for them. Oh. They want you to ingest it and breathe it in?
Looks like it.
Oh, it's so interesting. It's so interesting. That sign there of no gathering.
Remind you of anything?
Yeah. Beat me to it.
It's crazy. The rabbit hole on polio is wild. But yeah.
All right, so getting back to that EWG study, or the Environmental Working Group. So this study and documentary, it's 20 minutes long. You can find it on YouTube. It's called the 10 American Study, and they took 10 babies still in the womb, and they tested the umbilical cord blood, again, assuming that it was going to be clean, but they found the opposite, that there was 287 chemicals in that cord blood, and it looks like 212 of them were banned more than 30 years ago. And I think this was a bit more before, the forever chemicals that get a lot of attention these days. So the idea there is that babies are born pre-polluted, and we wonder about autism, and we wonder about cancer rates and heart disease, right? Yeah. And if we're being born sick. I think I had it on a slide on my notes, but something that I should probably say here is the biggest detox that a mother will ever do, a female will ever do, is to her first baby. A statistic from this 10 Americans says that 70% of what mom accumulates in her entire life, she gives to her first child. Interesting. I would love to see if autism rates are higher in the first child then,
Yeah, it just makes me think because yesterday when we were together in a meeting with a patient and you mentioned the mommy mirroring that the baby does. You know, this is another kind of way of mirroring to our child already the toxicity that we're in. And the other thing I think about is 10 Americans study. You know, these other countries have a lot of these chemicals banned, and we see less disease in those countries. So it's interesting.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Okay, so EWG has a bunch of different avenues of resources for you, and I'm just going to encourage you both go on to YouTube, watch the 10 Americans, a little bit of humor in it and a lot of seriousness in it, very eye-opening. But the other things that EWG offers is this is the company that puts out the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen every single year. So these are the 15 cleanest fruits and the dirtiest that are sprayed with pesticides and other things. Just gives you maybe a little bit more awareness of what to hit at the grocery store and what to avoid at the grocery store. So they also do a tap water assessment where you can type in your zip code and see what is in your tap water. They do a cosmetics and personal care products guide. This is called the Skin Deep guide. So you can type in a product, you can type in a brand, you can type in an ingredient, and it's going to rate it on toxicity, which we'll have a little showing of that later on. They've got a sunscreen guide. They've got a clean products guide for cleaning products in the house. Just an awesome resource.
Awesome.
You use their app, or did you use to use their app?
And I share it with every single patient because we go through toxicity in you know, our sessions. So this is great. Like, it does a lot of the work for us.
And I think there's a couple other competitors out there these days, and you know, some people might like one better than the other, but EWG is kind of the OG of that space.
And I think there's apps, you know, there's all kinds of cool things now.
There really is. Okay, so now we got the first one done is when we're being exposed to chemicals, and we're being exposed to chemicals in the womb and right from the start, right?
Yep.
So next chapter here is what damage are the toxins doing? So when we're being exposed to that, what is it that they're doing? And so you know, just kind of put the slide here. You're going to feel overwhelmed with this if you haven't gone down this rabbit hole before. Apologies, you know, you can't unlearn this stuff once you learn it. It just is what it is. And again, we're not talking about being perfect here. We're just talking about making better decisions for your family. So we've got a mountain to go through here. Bear with us. Our body is kind of like a battery, right? When we are exposed to stress, when we're exposed to toxicity, our certain amount of energy is being used to deal with that. And the rest of the energy that the body has, there's less of it to do other things like digest or our immune system or our ability to focus for tests or at work. Anything you want to add there?
No, I think the next slide kind of sums it up, because any type of exposure is a type of stress that our body is dealing with. And when we have that exposure, our body's knocked out of balance. Like Cade was saying, it's got to take its resources and deal with that exposure. And there's 3 types of exposure. There's mental stress, there's chemical stress, and there's physical stress. And each of the 3 knock us out of balance. And today we're talking a lot about chemical stress. And it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And it creates mental stress and it creates physical stress. So these are like intertwining things that our battery, you know, our pack of what we have resources for is being drained.
Yeah, it's well said. So when those toxins come in, there literally is not a system in the body that it does not touch. Coach, all yours.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll read it and weep. You know, the cell membrane, the mitochondria. You hear like Chris Masterjohn is going deep into the study of the mitochondria right now, and pretty much is saying that mitochondrial dysfunction is leading to all disease, right? So there you go. That affects, the toxins affect the mitochondria. Aging, oxidative stress, are how our genes are expressed. So whether we're making healthy genes or not. You know, inflammation, neurological, microbiome, our gut bacteria. So all over the place, these toxins are impacting us.
Oh, it's so widespread. So there's this theory of the empty bucket and an overflowing bucket. So we like to kind of talk about each one of our cells can handle and carry only so much, specifically, again, in this example, toxicity, right? And when our body can adapt to the chemical stress, like say you get a quick puff of secondhand smoke as you're walking down the street, right? Or maybe there's a little bit of this or that in your deodorant. deodorant, right? Maybe at one single exposure, a body or a cell can absolutely handle, right? In a healthy individual, but it's that accumulated, repeated exposure that eventually that bucket can't carry any more water and it overflows. And when it overflows, or when that cell can no longer deal with the toxins, right? When it overflows, that's typically when symptoms start to arise, right? So Coach just gave you a good list of the different systems and the different tissues that get impacted, but here's maybe some more potential symptoms, right? Anything you want to highlight there, or things that you typically see a lot of common?
I mean, it's vast, you know, the effects are all over the place. So like you could just go around this graph here and look at all the things that we're being affected by. And if you just think about what Dr. Cade was saying about the cell having to deal with those toxins and then detox from those toxins, that goes into a tissue. And then that tissue makes an organ. So then now our organ is affected, and that organ has a specific function that it can't do as well. And so the system as a whole, as you can see here, is going to be affected.
So we were talking about statistics of our unfortunate broken medical system in this country, right? Full of wonderful people that want to help, that want to change your life, but their tools really are only drugs or surgery, right? Those are the tools that they have. And when I look at the list of symptoms on every one of these things, whether it's osteoporosis, whether it's allergies, whether it's migraines, whether it's chronic fatigue or eye stuff, right?
Arthritis.
The tool for each one of those things, the gold standard of care for each one of those things is not to figure out what toxin is causing this, or what lack of nutrition is causing this, or how your, maybe stress is causing any of these things. It's a pill. Every time it's gold standard for each one of these things, right? And again, if you have a pill, that's more toxins that your body has to somehow deal with. Love the quote that, and maybe I'm going to butcher it, right? A person who takes medicine has to heal twice, right? Once from the disease and once from the medicine. So,
I have a quote: the person that makes the medicine makes a lot of money.
Put it down. Coach Cason. That should be on the next slide. So I think you see a lot of liver stuff. You see a lot of blood sugar stuff. You see a lot of people who struggle with losing weight.
Weight, arthritis, like the joint pain that people have, the skin rashes, you know, the psoriasis, whatever you want to call it. Name it what you want. The root is usually the same. It's coming from toxicity.
Oh gosh, it's so tough. So when people are struggling with weight loss resistance, we always like to say toxins are absolutely a part of that, because the body's solution, right, for pollution is diluting things, right? It's going to hold on to water. It's going to hold on to fat to dilute the toxins that are coming into your system. So among the many things that were on that past list, if you're struggling with weight loss resistance, maybe toxins and getting rid of toxicity is a big part of your next step.
Amen.
Other things, the brain, brain aging, Alzheimer's, dementia, you can look at some of the statistics here. It is turning into a nightmare across the world, but mostly in our country, for brain issues, right? Alzheimer's and dementia, fastest growing diagnosis. The thing that sticks out to me here is 5 annual consecutive flu shots. That's such a big thing. We got a Walgreens right across the street that's constantly advertising, right?
It hurts.
You have a 10 times greater risk of a neurological disorder like dementia or Alzheimer's if that's a part of your routine. Oh,
But no. You need to watch out for that virus, that bug, the flu season.
and the vaccine is free over across the street at Walgreens, right?
Yeah, our passive aggressiveness. But here, this makes me think about kids too. Like, this is normal aging, but our kids' brains, the autism and the ADD and the ADHD, like the children's brain is already.
But is it normal aging? Are those things
Exactly.
normal? Is that normal? Right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that says fastest growing diagnosis for Alzheimer's and dementia, but I think a fair argument would be the ADHD, ADD thing.
Sure.
Right? Anxiety, depression.
Yeah, but this is a big deal because we don't have enough nursing homes or enough Alzheimer's units to take care of these people that, are lost. So, yeah.
I wonder if that little blue thing there was showing up on our recording.
Yeah,
If it is, I apologize. I just saw it.
I don't know.
Pulled it off. All right, on to the next one. Another source of toxicity is mycotoxins, mold. Live down in Florida, and it's kind of not a matter if, it's kind of a matter of when. A lot of times you can walk into an older building and just smell it right away. And for some people, they're hypersensitive to it, and they get kind of some headaches or things like that. And if that's you, then we know that your bucket is getting close to being full. right?
Yes.
So mold, won't jump into that too deep. It's something to consider. Chronic infections like Lyme or root canals, things like that, dental stuff, oral stuff that is not being properly treated or properly figured out. When your body is fighting in one area, again, it is constantly, what I have on the bottom here, taxing your immune system. And again, your body has way less resources to do much of anything else.
Yeah. Autoimmune-like characteristics, we see this a lot.
Yeah.
With these infections. But again, why is there an infection? Where is the root of that? You know, it's not just the Lyme. It's not just the parasite. There's a reason that the body is dealing with that stuff. And it comes back to the bucket, the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So again, you know, when most of us are dealing with sickness and disease, like we just try to mask symptoms. That's what we're taught in this country. That's the gold standard level of care, is to take a pill for every ill and just to cover it up. And eventually there's a cost to pay. It completely drowns us, right? We never get better. Our head never comes up for water. We just continue to sink. And that's what we're seeing, you know, when we zoom out in this country. Okay, so that were some of the symptoms. Now this is the big topic.
Where are they coming from?
This is the
what are
big
they?
chapter, right? What are they? So we're going to apologize because, again, if you've gone down this route before, you're going to know pretty much everything that we're going to say. Hopefully we can bring some new things to the table to keep you learning and keep you growing. But this is a big one. So we'll make a couple jokes along the way, but bear with us.
Yeah.
Any other disclaimers?
It's painful. It's very painful, but we do have to suffer. You know, we have to go through these things. So we need to look at this. Even if you know it, it's good to go through it again.
I think that's fair. Totally think that's fair. So we're going to call a lot of these toxins xenobiotics. And what that means is it's a typically a synthetic chemical that's foreign to our body that our body has to somehow adapt to or deal with. And if it can't adapt to it, then it causes disease, right? So the ways that these sources are going to get in, these are things that we're either breathing in, things that are coming through the skin, things that we're eating, or spiritual stuff. And I don't think we're going to get into spiritual stuff much in this talk. Maybe one slide for stinking thinking, right? Between what's happening between our ears. But the majority of this is going to be talking about breathing, skin, and ingestion. And if you want more spiritual stuff, you go back to our talk on stress where Coach Cason jumped into that pretty deep. So, all right.
Let's go.
Here we go. Go ahead. Yeah. Go. You all yours.
Well,
all yours.
I mean, you've got them listed here beautifully. Heavy metals, cleaning products, VOCs. These are our new house builds everywhere. Food. Oh gosh, food. The pesticides, the preservatives, the additives, the seed oils, the additives. I'm sorry. Is what's red dyes? I'm thinking of like the dyes. Are those additives?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Electromagnetic frequencies, EMFs, our Wi-Fi, like the dirty pollution, these lights that we have shining in our face. Just air pollution, typical good old air pollution, what we put on our body, mold, medicine. Dr. Cade mentioned that when you take a pharmaceutical, your body's having to work twice. It's got to work to do what the pharmaceutical is doing in it, and then it's got to work to heal the side effects from that pharmaceutical. So, yeah.
And if we were just exposed to, in a day, maybe one of these things, maybe a little bit of air pollution, right, on our commute in, that'd be one thing, right? But it doesn't just happen that way. It's kind of all these things all the time, right? And I think it's worth asking the question, do these things compound? And the answer absolutely is
1,000%.
Yeah, absolutely.
1,000%.
Right? So this is a kind of an interesting thing, though, because the FDA does not think so. They think that it's maybe dose dependent. So when you look at the label on your sunscreens and the label on your toothpaste, those are the two examples that we're going to have here, is have you ever noticed that there's this active ingredient? So there's a toothpaste label on the left-hand side, and the top part says active ingredient, which is fluoride in this case. And if you look at that, it says 0.76% potency of that fluoride that's in this particular toothpaste, right? So it's a very, very low amount. And what the FDA calls this is acceptable levels, right? So in their studies, exposure to this fluoride at this potency, it's an acceptable thing where it's not going to cause disease. Well, my question is, right? Do you just brush your teeth once or once a week or once a month or whatever the frequency is? Where is the tipping point where 0.76 actually starts to create sickness and disease, right?
Amen.
And you can see, sunscreens over here, avobenzene and octasilicate, like these are small percentages as well. These are considered acceptable levels.
Yeah.
by the FDA.
Yeah, just look at the warning labels. Like, read the warning. You know, if more than used for brushing is accidentally swallowed, get medical help or contact poison control. Like, it's poison. Use your common sense. Like, what do you think this stuff is?
Why is a spoonful of poison okay?
Yeah,
but
right.
a gallon of poison is not okay, right? It's just interesting. If a little bit or if a lot of bit causes harm, should we be concerned with a little bit? So to flip it kind of on its head, this documentary, which you can find on, I think you have to buy it. I don't think the full version of it's on YouTube, but it's called Unacceptable Levels. So Coach and I will shut our mouths and let's watch this because it's phenomenal. Like the music too.
Yeah, you're jamming.
Companies are free to put a chemical on the market with zero information about its health or safety properties.
You look at some of the
Should have been
things that
Bert and
are
Ernie.
on store shelves today, and you can't believe it.
We have products on the market, and nobody knows if they're safe or not, and nobody's testing it because they don't have to.
I don't want to take the chance of buying something that could be really bad for my family.
Well, that's the game. Chances are you bought them already.
Almost all of our consumer products are made up of
Oh,
chemicals,
man.
and a lot of those chemicals are harmful.
There are different chemicals are in different levels. Every conceivable way possible.
And so your body is ground zero in the battle over pollution. That's the fundamental change that's happened.
Yes.
Chemicals that interfere with reproductive systems, that cause cancers, that interfere with our immune systems, that interfere with development.
These things can all be affected by very small amounts of chemicals.
Well, somehow we have industrial chemicals floating around in our bodies. You'd think one of those would be enough. But 232, it's kind of hard to say what's going on.
You know when people start wanting to know about this stuff? When somebody in their family has
Isn't that the truth?
learning disability.
People say to me, like, what do we need to fix this system? I say it's simple. Everything.
And the concern should be not just about us, but more importantly about future generations.
Yeah.
In these next 10 to 15 to 20 years, you need to do something about it.
There are choices that people can make.
There are things that we can do about it.
Each one of us can be that beginning today.
The difference between a chance and no chance, the difference between some hope and no hope is a huge difference.
Amen.
Awesome.
That's so good.
Awesome little documentary.
That's so good.
Yeah, Unacceptable Levels.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sources. Here we go. So we always try to put up a disclaimer because this is a lot. And we don't know all the details about you. We're just here trying to share as much as we can. That's what we think the definition of a real practitioner is teaching. So let's just continue on. But your disclaimer is we're sorry.
Yep.
What do you see, Coach?
Well, I finally can see this now.
Can you?
Yeah, but I don't want to spoil it, so I'll wait for the next slide.
How about if you squint your eyes and turn your head to the left?
But I can see it.
Okay, you can see it. There it is.
Because once you can see it.
I can't unsee it. I love it. There's the moo cow, right? Now we go back. You can see it. You can see the outline of its face. It's looking right at you. Little ears, little nose, right? Little moo cow.
Yes. Yes. Don't get discouraged, you guys. This is a lot. This is heavy. It's everywhere. We're being bombarded. And just take one step at a time. So when you look at this, we have to start seeing these for what they actually are. That's our goal today, is for you guys to see these things for what they actually are. They're poisons. They're toxic. They're cheap poisons that we sell like crazy for us to ingest and put on our skin, for us to brush our teeth with, under this marketing idea that those are the things that are going to help us, right? Keep us from aging.
Oh, we have to see them for what they are. Yeah. Okay. So as you heard in that documentary, that trailer, there's about 80,000 chemicals on the market right now, right? In the industrial market. So these are chemicals across the board. And we're going to give you a ton of examples here. The hard part is the FDA is tested a super, super small fraction, and they test that product in isolation.
Yeah.
So they don't know how product A, competes with product, D or Z or we don't have an alphabet for 80,000 letters, right?
Right.
And so, we are constantly bombarded with things. And as you can see here, a statistic from the EWG's, that 10 American study, is it says it takes 26 seconds to enter the bloodstream. So we put the chemicals on our lips from chapstick or the chemicals from our deodorant on our armpits. 26 seconds later, it's found in every organ in the body.
Yep. Don't put it on your body if you wouldn't eat it.
Well, that's what we're going to try to talk about today, right? And if these things are continuously coming in, we can't out-medicate the problems that they create. We have to go back and eliminate them from coming into the body.
Yep.
All right. Just again, to try to encourage you, do the best you can. And when you know better, you do better. You don't beat yourself up about it. I think the only thing you can do that would make things worse is feeling guilty and stressed out about it.
Then you get 2 toxic chemicals.
So first topic on the plate here is toxins in our water. You drink a lot of water, Coach?
Yeah. Out of glass, of course.
I feel like that's I've got cold coffee in here.
See, look.
My plastic. I'm not justifying it. That is my mistake. It's a habit I have to change. But we've got a bunch of kids in our house, and glass is constantly breaking. So stainless steel is obviously the option. And I don't know. Those always get me. Those always get my teeth.
Yeah, I don't like the mouthfeel on that. But I bet your water's filtered. So there you go.
That's good, right? Mm-hmm. Love this quote, buy a filter or be a filter. So go ahead, Coach. You take it.
Yeah, well, we are water. Like water is emitting memory. It's emitting frequency. It shares information. So why would we be putting toxic chemicals into that water? To probably inform our body, to make our body sick. So we have to watch out for our water. We have to really look at what's in our water. We have to stop drinking the tap water. We have to get the toxins out of the tap water. But yeah, I'm not too huge on amount of water a day. I do think we need to drink more water, but we also need to drink cleaner water. So the quality of it matters just as much, I think, as the amount. But when we drink more water, we can help our body to filter more water. So it's a good way of detoxing.
It absolutely is a good way of detoxing. I like that. So you can see some of the statistics here about the not enough water is the number one trigger of daytime fatigue. And I don't know if that's you or not, but I would just encourage you to experiment. But I think the part that's interesting, what Coach is saying, is you could be doing a great job with drinking the amount of water a day. You could go past this suggestion of taking your body weight, cutting it in half. Mm-hmm. And that's how many ounces of water a day that, that's a great place to start. Mm-hmm. But like Coach said, if you're drinking tap water and you're getting all this water in thinking you're doing a good job, you could actually be doing more harm to your body with the toxins that are in that tap water. Mm-hmm. Cool statistic came out years ago that if people drank on average at least 5 glasses of water a day, it would be a reduction of colon cancer by 45%, a reduction in bladder cancer by 50%. And you can see what breast cancer says there. So water is super, super important to the body. But again, quality is just as important as quantity, like Coach said. So in typical, again, you can look on the EWG's website. These are some of the things that are typically found in water. Medications are a big thing. Even they go through the municipal water treatment facilities, birth control, antidepressants, high blood pressure medications are still found in trace amounts in tap water. Yeah. Chlorine is a big one, and that kills the good bacteria in our body. Lead is also found in the waters in certain places more so, in certain places less, but that's a known neurotoxin. Mm-hmm. And, fluoride is a big one. We're pretty blessed here in Collier County that is been pulled out. Yeah. But fluoride is also a known neurotoxin, and it's, continuously touted as a health thing, right? What about bottled water? Is bottled water the answer then instead of tap water?
Well, no. No, because it depends. It depends. There are some good bottled waters. But then you get into plastics. You get into what they're putting back into those waters, like how much it's filtered, and then them putting back putting minerals back into it. But I cannot tell you how many people I see that are dehydrated on their blood chemistry, on their labs, right? And because the blood is water, right? So we can look at the hydration of it. But yet they drink, 5 of their Stanley cups a day, and they think that they're not dehydrated. So
interesting.
Quality and what's in that water. This slide right here matters so much.
Can't wait to talk about plastics with you. We'll clear that up about what Coach is saying. Excellent point. But it's not just drinking water though. It's also water from our baths, and
this is huge.
It is. It's so stinking awesome. So the statistic says from EWG also, I believe, that we absorb the same amount of toxins, right, from a warm shower when our pores open up or a warm bath, and from that steam, that vapor coming up as we're breathing in, we absorb the same amount of toxins in a 15-minute shower as we would drinking a week's worth of tap water.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild statistics. I remember hearing that for the first time and just being blown away.
It's crazy. Well, when you understand the lungs and the tissue of the lungs and how there's that
surface area,
right, and how things are transmuted in and out, CO2, O2, that kind of exchange, it makes sense because we're breathing all the time.
It doesn't go through the protective pathways of the digestion.
Right.
It's right into the bloodstream.
Right.
Really, really wild. That's why, sorry, I'm going to do it. That's why when somebody, we'll talk about THC super quick. When somebody, is smoking THC,
Sure.
they feel high very, very quickly versus when somebody takes a gummy, they typically have to wait because there's a process of digestion that happens, and we're bypassing that when we're in the hot shower.
Right.
So this is a tough slide, so I hope that we're not disappointing you, but we're going to give you just a couple quick suggestions for water. When we're putting this slideshow together, there's not enough time to give you guys suggestions on each one of these things. We'll give you a couple solutions throughout the process, but I just apologize. So if you are on well water or city water, it is, I think, a smart thing to consider a whole house filtration system. We have our reverse osmosis here with an asterisk, and Vitasalis is a great company that we've recommended to many people over the years, but those are whole house. So when the water comes into your house, again, whether it's well or city water, where it's filtered there at the point of entry. And so every spot that you're using water is going to be filtered, even your toilet water, even water coming out of your bathtub, even when you're brushing your teeth out of the sink and washing dishes, everything is clean. And for some people that makes sense, but if you're living in an apartment or if you're renting, that might not make sense. So the other option is a point of view. So you can put a filter at the shower. You can put a filter at the sink, right? We've got a couple options here, Berkey, AquaTrue, a couple under the sink reverse osmosis kind of situations. And thank you, Jill Dixon. But awesome book recommendation for further reading is called Slow Death by Rubber Ducky. And this talks about how so many times we'll throw these kind of rubber ducky, these plastic toys made in China with the phthalates and things like that into the bathtub with our children, and those plasticizers leach off into the bathtub for us to be absorbed into our skin even quicker.
Yeah. And I think about the bathtubs. A lot of these bathtubs are made of plastic. That's
a good point too.
I should have caught this while we were making this PowerPoint, but structured water is a great tool, health tool, and a great way to filter your water. You can structure your water. So there's a lot there, but look into structuring water and how to do that.
We've got an article on our website if you guys want to go geek out on that, including some cool pictures. Okay, so done with water. Where do most of us spend the majority of our time? That's our next topic. Ooh, hopefully most of us are sleeping the majority of our time, right? Yeah. One spot, right?
I didn't want to say Instagram.
That's not on our list of toxins. That's not on our list of toxins. Okay, so most of us hopefully are sleeping, whether that's 5 hours a night or 8 hours a night. Most of us aren't in one spot that long, right? And so can mattresses be toxic? Absolutely. Yeah. And so the majority of it is coming from the foam, the popularity of these foam mattresses. What do you think?
Yeah, well, they need to be off-gassed. Like when you open the box and you open the package, they'll say, let this thing off-gas for 24 hours or however long it says. But yeah, I think a lot of those are forever chemicals. I don't know, but you can smell that stuff for a long time. So if you can smell it, like you're smelling particles, you're smelling the particles of those toxins. So yeah.
It's pretty interesting. So if you want to go and learn more, there's a cool documentary called Toxic Hot Seat, and it talks about these brominated flame retardant chemicals. And even when you can't smell these chemicals anymore, the material is still off-gassing as it degrades over time. So whether you can smell it and the potency of it in the beginning, extremely toxic, or you can't smell it, maybe less toxic, but you're still ingesting it or inhaling it, right, would be the right word. It's not good. And again, if you're putting your face on that mattress for 7 hours a night, it's coming right into you. And those brominated flame retardants are linked to very similar to chlorine, very similar to fluoride in the body. No neurotoxic with horrible, horrible side effects. So
Ouch.
we're going to skip this next slide really fast and pretend you didn't see it. Okay, good. We're done with mattresses. Let's talk about toxins in food. This is a big one. And Coach, you know what just hit me?
What?
Right before we started, I took my B complex and I took my multi, and I'm starting to get that niacin flush. So if you see my face or my neck turn red, don't be concerned. I'm not going to have an allergic reaction, but you can laugh at me. Go ahead.
Nobody can tell, Cade.
I should put my hazmat suit on, then you couldn't see
go.
my flush.
Then you'd be safe. Then you could spray your food with Roundup.
And it's definitely not going to stay in that plant, right? This is definitely not.
I love these pictures. These are like it's hard but true. You know, it's
Don't they say that's like the best humor? The best humor is funny, but it's true.
Yeah.
Isn't there like always an element of truth in the best comedy?
I think so. Yeah.
But this is sad, but it's true, but it's funny, but it's not.
It is
right?
sad.
So we won't jump into food too much, but we have to make sure that we talk about a couple things.
How are they eating? They have their masks on. It just cracks me up.
Look at though. Those kids are smiling. Maybe Dad's telling it. Doesn't have his goggles on right now.
Oh shoot, Dad.
Cover up, baby. Safety first. Go ahead.
Oh gosh. Seed oils, guys. The cool thing about the world today is this is becoming more known. There's more information out there about seed oils now than there ever has been, but yet it's still in so much of our food. You know, if you eat out at a restaurant, chances are you're going to be getting this stuff in your food. If you eat something from a box or a bag, chances are you're going to be getting these oils in your food. So stay away. Canola, corn, soy, safflower, sunflower, palm, peanut, partially hydrogenated. Stay away from those seed oils.
And how do you stay away from them?
Read the label.
Mm-hmm.
Read the label and eat real whole food. There is no seed oils in a banana pepper or a
I like that choice.
Banana, you know, or a piece of broccoli.
How about if you're going out to eat and there isn't a label? Is there an app for that?
Oh, yes, there is an app for that. It's called Seed Oil Scout, and no affiliation, which I wish I had.
Click the link below.
But yeah, it's a cool app. It'll show you restaurants that are seed oil free or low seed oils, and then you can always ask the chef. You can always ask the server. You know, what is that steak cooked in?
Love it. Love it. How about this stuff? Toxins in there?
Oh, baby. Yeah, so Roundup is heavily sprayed right before the wheat germinates in most of America. And so the bread then has the Roundup in it. The processing that we've done to our wheat and our grains is way different than it used to be. So yeah, extremely, extremely toxic stuff here.
But just like I wash my strawberries in the sink, when I wash off all the glyphosate off in the sink, I can just wash my loaf of bread in the sink. I can get it off that way, right?
It doesn't work that way. That stuff enters into especially in corn. Wheat's a different story, but that enters into the
grain itself,
the tissue, yeah,
through the soil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Up into the grain, it becomes a part of it.
Yes.
So not only glyphosate, right, but other toxins and other ingredients in a lot of bread, pasta, and rices out there. The list is crazy. Look at your bread label next time.
Well, and then they put seed oils in the bread, you know, to make it taste better. So,
and at the end of the day, grains are just sugar, right? And that's a kind of a toxin on its own. Mm-hmm. And speaking about sugar,
but you know, you could just eliminate sugar and go low sugar and use your Sweet and Low and Splenda.
There you go, because that's everywhere. What are your thoughts there, Coach?
Yeah, another extremely toxic thing. sucralose is the big one that we see in so many of our energy drinks, and so many sugar-free sodas, and so many sugar-free proteins, protein powders. Like it's everywhere, and it is a gut destroyer.
And sucralose is the generic name for Splenda. So it really is everywhere, no joke. So here is Pedialyte, right? And if you look down in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got a picture of the list of ingredients there. And there's 2 artificial sweeteners. There is sucralose, which again, we just talked about. And then there's acesulfame potassium. Maybe I pronounced acesulfame a little bit wrong, but that is, it's either sweet and low or equal. I can never remember what acesulfame potassium is, but those are things that, they say no sugar, but they do have an impact on blood sugar and the insulin response. Very, very interesting on how all of that works.
Yeah, but stay hydrated, right? If you're sick, have your Gatorade and have your Pedialyte.
It's just so interesting.
Yeah.
You brought up energy drinks, and I there's just very few that are out there that have it. It's so hard to find it, which also on our website, we have a list of some of the top brands that are out there, but even the ones that people commonly, think are healthy, like what's the big one? Celsius?
Yeah.
Is that what a lot of people think is like the
And
healthier
it's
option?
Just all the rage right now, Celsius. Yeah, I dare I say this, but it's better to drink a full sugar Red Bull than it is to drink one of those fake sugar Red Bulls.
High five. That's exactly what I think. That's exactly my opinion. All right. Frankenfood, Coach was talking about additives a little while back. The average person consumes 150 pounds of additives through their food, through their drink annually. That is wild to think about. That's something that your liver, just that organ that's inside that right side of your upper outer quadrant, is that has to do with 150 pounds of toxins or additives every single year.
Preach.
Absolutely
Preach,
wild. Absolutely wild. GMOs, Coach is talking about that in relation to corn. There's another documentary, I believe it's called King Corn, that talks about some of the downsides of GMOs and how companies like Monsanto are able to patent seeds. So not only is there a devastating effect to us and the environmental ecosystems, it is driven by profits. It is absolutely wild.
What the actual heck?
What the heck? Pesticides, big one that we always like to say is pesticides are not listed on the label.
Yeah.
This one's pretty interesting. Ecosystem, a member of the ecosystem that is very damaged by this are the bees. That's a whole big topic as well there. And some people estimate that, once we hit a tipping point of death in the population of bees, that our ecosystem will fall apart as a whole. Interesting to think that those little guys are that important, right? But yeah, pesticides are, and I feel like I'm missing something on pesticides. Oh, the organic world is maybe not quite as rosy as what we think it is either with pesticides. So another thing to, we'll save you from today, but you can't be perfect with this stuff. It's just about trying to do the best you can. How about soy? Soy healthy, Coach? Should we leave it there and just move on? Could we just do this whole PowerPoint slideshow and just go,
There is fermented soy. What's that called?
natto.
Natto. So natto from organic soy. But like Cade said, it gets very depressing because now the organic world has been brainwashed and hoodwinked, and they're changing the legislation to
people were buying from it, right?
More things in. Come on. So we got to go back to real whole food. So if you have organic soy from an organic regenerative farm that that doesn't have spray around it, then make some natto, fermented soy. But soy can bind to the estrogen and some hormone receptors, and it can really mess up cell signaling in our body. So, but God made it. He made the real thing. So if you can get back to that real thing, and you've got your body in a place where you are okay to eat that, then go for it.
Protein powders, a lot of health bars that are out there, a lot of junk food. We'll call it junk food for healthy people. So he's in a lot of stuff. We kind of talked about king corn and patenting seeds. I'd say soy and corn are the two most genetically modified crops on the planet. So many of us consume this stuff in massive quantities. Nitrites are an ingredient that we use in a lot of like deli meats, hot dogs, to give it that rich red color. That's so much more attractive than that like grayish color of meat. However, it's linked to a 67% increase in pancreatic cancer. It's just wild. And a lot of countries ban nitrites. I think it was the World Health Organization said that it was too dangerous for human consumption. But, America.
Yeah, America. When you know better, you do better.
That's it.
And this is a great place to start. The Dirty Dozen's a very nice, helpful list.
Should people use the 2016 version of the Clean 15 or Dirty
Well,
Dozen?
it'd be better than not using it at all.
Fair answer.
So,
Fair answer.
Yes, but we're a little bit behind there.
This is a big one. I'm letting you take this one.
Oh gosh,
because you gave me a hard time about my plastic cup. So go ahead.
And then I eat a lot of salmon, canned salmon and tuna and seafood. And so the fact of the matter is that all these toxins. Remember how we talked about water and how water carries energy and memory. All this stuff goes into our oceans. All these toxins are having to be cycled and detoxed by our earth, not just our body. So they're in the ocean, and you can see the hierarchy here of what is eating what. So those, just like the cord blood of a baby has toxins in it, these toxins are going to surpass and go through the chain here.
Yeah, and accumulate to the top. Yep. So like the tuna would probably be up near the top. The shark, those have the highest levels of the toxins because they've accumulated up the food chain. Anything you want to say about microplastics out there? And
there's a island the size of Texas in our ocean that is plastic, plastic bottles and bags, and yeah.
I think I read something the other day that microplastics have been found on every continent now, even Antarctica and the Arctic Circle. Like we've just done such a good job of getting that everywhere.
I will say that I have heard that fungus, some mushroom species, will eat plastic. So there is a way.
And I heard a bacteria found in the ocean can break it down too. So interesting. A lot of scientists think that if they can bioengineer something to eat those microplastics, that's going to save the world, which would be interesting, right?
I don't know if we should go there. That's GMO corn.
Is it? Man, I just love when man intervenes with nature. So we won't jump into food any more than that for today. But this is our philosophy. Just eat real food, as Coach said. And if you want to learn more and go into depth in the details of nutrition, head over to our YouTube talk. Man, you nailed it. I'm not even going to try mine. My screen grabs are usually much worse than that. So I'll leave it there.
Not a symbol. Oops. Sorry, Chance.
Yeah, that is Baphomet right there. We'll leave it there. Okay, so you heard Coach talk about plastics. So the worst ones are plastics 3, 6, and 7. And again, the little numbers on the bottom or on the side are the things that tell you what type of plastic it is. We just really talk about minimizing or avoiding all plastics.
Yeah.
And what are things that make plastics, or what are your things that plastic wise that you absolutely bother you?
You're so smart, Cade. I learned from this slide. I didn't know these numbers and to watch out for them. What I try and do, and like Dr. Cade said, he's got 6 kids, so it's hard to have everything glass because glass breaks. But I've just tried to eliminate plastics in my house, and use plastic dishes. I mean, non-plastic dishes like glass. But yeah, I don't know. I just try and avoid. That's what I try and do.
So I'm thinking about kind of sneaky ways that plastics get us. So if you're ordering a hot coffee from Starbucks and that steam is on the plastic lid, take that lid off if you can. I think that's a big one. I think plastics are pretty bad in takeout food wrappers. So if you're ordering, let's just say ideally, none of us are eating at fast food, but if you're getting fast food burger and it's wrapped in that wrapper,
my gosh,
plastic is horrible in that. And again, the heat, changes that and makes it just leach out into the food even more. So for example, if you've got a takeout wrapper and your cheese is melted onto that wrapper and you're scraping off that cheese, not good. And I think maybe the other one that is kind of sneaky is maybe receipts, that thermal paper, right?
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah.
So again, as you can tell, the trend there is extreme temps or hot, something in the microwave, something warm from off the coffee, or even the opposite, freezing a water bottle in the fridge and drinking that.
Which is crazy.
It is. Those extreme temps change the structure of that plastic and make it more likely to leach off.
Yep.
And last one to touch on here, I think the worst offender is dryer vents.
Yeah. This is cool. It's not cool, but it's a good one to know. Our clothes, most of our clothes now have plastics in them.
Synthetic materials, right?
And the big one to watch here is your underwear, because that's right by some very, very important reproductive organs. And so I've switched to cotton underwear. It's a change. You know, the cool thing about the plastics is they're very, very comfortable, and they stretch and they move. So cotton isn't as moldable and mendable, but yeah, I feel healthier.
I'm just light years ahead of you. I just don't wear underwear. So, when those clothes are agitated, the synthetic chemicals in the clothes are agitated in the dryer and exposed to high heat. And then you take off the dryer vent to scrape all that stuff out. You can just see that cloud of dust coming up. Yeah. And again, what type of microfibers are we inhaling?
And you think about where you sweat. You're sweating down there. Teflon.
All yours.
I don't know. I know it's in our pans, you know?
So considered the forever chemicals, like Coach said. This is a big one. So there's a couple acronyms there, PTFE, PFOA. But this is a chemical made by DuPont for war vehicles, for tanks, for guns, to help minimize the damage of water and wetness from eroding those things and causing breakdown. And they found how effective that chemical was, and so they started using it on almost everything in America for like industrialized things, including pans. Wild, right? And so I think the only thing you can do to make Teflon worse is to heat it up, right? I think it was
put it in a pan.
Oh, it's so crazy. So again, banned in most other countries because of how deathly and potent it is, but it was supposed to be banned in 2015 in the US, which it is not. But there is a huge influx of products out there that are free of these chemicals, which we should have had a slide on, I guess, on pots and pans, but maybe this one is just it.
Yeah, that's
it. A lot of the ceramic, lined products that are out there are just as bad. We really like stainless steel pans. We like cast iron pans. We like anodized aluminum pans. Titanium pans are kind of turning into a thing. I would avoid lined as much as you can, because as soon as it's chipped, whatever it is that's underneath it or the layers underneath it are going to become into your cooking products. Yep. What else is I going to say on this slide? The Dark Waters documentary is fascinating. It'll piss you off.
Is that the one that happened in West Virginia?
I think that's where it is. Ohio, West Virginia. Yeah, that's the documentary on Teflon, or DuPont, the company, knew that there were some very toxic byproducts in the production of Teflon that they just dumped into the river.
They knew it. And
the rates of cancer within the community where the factory was and downstream were exponentially higher than other areas in the county, in the country, in the world. So what else was I going to say about Teflon here?
Is it in something else that's common? I don't know.
All right. Sorry, guys,
I did catch something that you mentioned. This was created during a war. Why is everything toxic created during a war, like DDT and Agent Orange?
It's really interesting, isn't it? And like why it's created for a purpose, for war. And then they're like, oh, well, maybe we should just introduce this outside of war. Yeah. And we've made enough of it. We got to figure out a way to get rid of it, right?
So let's make money on it.
Golly, there was something else I was going to say there. I'm sure
it'll come back to you.
Figure it out. Okay, so now we're going to jump into the category of personal care items, and we're going to refer back to the EWG. So part I love about EWG is just how easy they make it. Yeah. So they've got this cool scale. Yep. Green, yellow, red. Pretty awesome. So
no brainer.
We really say that if you're going to go over to that website, try to keep your products within the green. Okay. We're not going to tell you to stop buying deodorant. I tried that and I still have friends, surprisingly. I can't believe I still have friends with no deodorant. But now I use it. I just use one that's down in the green. So head over to EWG. Here's an interesting thing. The FDA has this LD50 test, all right? Yeah. Animal testing. There's a lot of like brands out there that say they're cruelty-free or animal testing free, but most products out there do not. They are tested on animals. And so this test is called the Lethal Dose 50% test. And it's based off of when you do animal testing, if 50% of the animals or less than 50% of the animals die from that product, the product is safe for consumer use. So if you have 100 animals and 49 of them die, your product is considered safe. But if 51 of those animals die, it is not. Back to the lab, back to formulation, back to trying it again. I feel like you got something to say.
Brilliant. We've come up with a brilliant plan.
So the question is, how many animals died for your toothpaste, right? Is it 20%? Is it 39%?
I mean, I love common sense. I love logic and just making things make sense. Like, make that make sense to me.
Oh, it's so wild.
Can you make that make sense to me? It doesn't.
These are the people, going back to that documentary, that what was it? Unacceptable levels, and any like, who really is dictating that this stuff is safe?
Right.
Can those organizations, can those people be tested?
Right.
Or trusted, not tested? Can those organizations be trusted that they have our best interest in mind, or is it the corporation's best interest in mind?
We know how studies work. We know that whole industry of scientific literature has been, bought.
Should we go to the next slide?
I think I've had too much
what time
Teflon.
is it? We're both. Oh man.
I know it's not this because I don't use this. No way, Jose.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, you go to a hospital, you go to an urgent care, you go to any medical, besides Life Strength Health Center, complex, you're going to see this stuff everywhere. Schools, bathrooms. I see this at Chipotle. Like, it's everywhere. And what this is an antibiotic. This is just as bad as taking an antibiotic because you're killing the good bacteria and you're killing the bad bacteria. But the ecosystem is affected by this. And so, our terrain needs bacteria. It needs good and it needs bad. It needs a balance. And this disrupts that balance. And we have all sorts of health effects from it. When Dr. Cade and I talked to a patient, one of the first things we asked them is, how many antibiotics were you on as a child? How many antibiotics were you on as an adult? This is a very, very similar thing to that because it ruins and disturbs the microbiome.
Super interesting. Coach said, it's just as bad as taking an antibiotic. And I think that's a bold thing to say, but I think, going back to the repeated usage and the percentage, of the active ingredient, like we had already talked about, if you're putting this, again, a practitioner at a hospital, how many times a day are they putting this on their hands, right? And over time, that compounds into the body. And the interesting part about this is that, like, people who are proponents of this think that this is the only to use, right? But you see what we have down at the bottom. There are plenty of studies that show that this is actually no more effective, right, at killing bacteria. Again, that's the bad guy, right? Than just regular soap, right? No more effective. It's interesting, right? Then if it's no more effective, why are we putting up with all the negative downsides and the marketing BS, right? And again, it's because it doesn't just kill the bad, it kills the good. So there isn't a balance of our good bacteria to keep the bad guys in check, right? Amen. Again, if that's the philosophy. Anything else to say here?
I just wonder who owns Purell.
Go watch Ian Carroll. He talks about the corporations who own the corporations who own the corporations.
Goes down that trail.
Go ahead. Are you? Yes, I was so hoping. Man, you can read my mind sometimes. It blows me away.
There it was.
That was pretty good. I think you nailed that one.
Dude, I used to love Old Spice, though.
Me too.
I used to love it.
That smell was great, wasn't it? The body wash and then the deodorant.
I remember.
I love it. If you close your eyes and take a whiff, you can just envision it, right? So this stuff is just absolutely full of nasty chemicals and ingredients. And, if you take a look at like sodium lauryl sulfate and some of the other ones that we have on our list here, and you go over to the EWG and you type that ingredient in, you're going to maybe get into the yellow, maybe 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. So again, it's not this crazy, super toxic thing, but again, it's this repeated exposure and how quickly and how frequently it's getting into the system that creates the damage. One of the big offenders that is in so many of the products, personal care products that we're going to talk about, is fragrance. Holy moly, look at fragrance. It's all the way up there at number 8. And if you go down a little bit, common concerns, it's not linked to cancer. It's not linked to reproductive toxicity, but it is immunotoxic and linked to allergies, hypersensitivity of our system.
Is that why every time I'm around that really, really strong perfume with the lady at church that I get a headache?
Or when you're walking down the cleaning aisle at Target or Walgreens.
And I pass out?
hold my breath as I'm walking down the aisle. It's pretty wild, right? And so again, we know what that feels like when it's an overabundance of fragrance, right? But again, are small doses okay?
Daily use, daily use. Yeah, you know, the thing that gets me is marketing. You know, I know the jingle for Old Spice because of advertisement. And so I just pray that our eyes are opened and we can see through some of this deception that is in front of our face. You know, because it's right there, and we just because it's popular and it's in the store doesn't mean it's healthy.
Is that Pure Sport over there?
No. Oh yeah, that was the one.
That was the one.
Dude.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about deodorants. There's two types of deodorants out there. There's a deodorant, which the main job is to cover up the smell, right? Deodor. And then the other version of it is an antiperspirant. And the antiperspirant is to make us stop sweating. And so the antiperspirants are the bigger offender here, right? And it's because you can see on that secret, all the way down at the bottom, it says antiperspirant. Right above it, it says aluminum, right? Yeah. And so what we do is we put in these tiny little granules or tiny little, flecks of aluminum. And the goal there is to plug our sweat glands, plug our sweat pores, right? So that we're not perspiring. And so the hard part is that aluminum gets into the body. And aluminum, as you can see over here, is linked to neurological issues like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. It's also linked to breast cancer. I think the interesting part here is, as we're applying that, our armpit's so close to the breast tissue. In the breast cancer world and in self-breast exams, they kind of talk about quadrants where they'll split the breast into 4 quadrants. The most common quadrant of cancer is the upper outer quadrant that's closest to the armpit. And, again, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to understand that that's where we're putting stuff on, right? And how about if you're nursing, right? Even more reason to minimize your toxic exposure there. Anything else?
You're so smart, man. I learn something every time we do these things.
It's fun, isn't it? Propylene glycol is the active ingredient in antifreeze.
Let's eat it.
Hair products. We'll leave this one here, but hairsprays and hair gels and dry shampoos, kind of all the rage, conditioners, right? So what we'll say here is, there's definitely an environmental toll on a lot of the propellants for things like hairspray. But if a 5th grader can't pronounce some of these things that are on here, butylphenol, methylpropanol, like what? Just don't touch it.
Hey, shout out Jack Henry. That's what I use for my hair. It's awesome. Coconut oil, lavender, beeswax.
I don't know if the camera caught it, but as Coach was running his hands through his hair, he had his eyes closed. Man, that was like
advertisement.
An Old Spice ad. Well,
Let's
no.
go.
What was the company? Jack Henry?
Yeah, Jack Henry. Yeah.
Jacques Henry.
Yeah, but they're getting bigger, so I'm just waiting for them to put some crap in there.
Huge offender here, cosmetics. And again, go over to the EWG to look through some of the stuff. There's a ton of brands that are moving in the right direction. What do our girls use? OG? Is that what it is?
Chancey just sent, OG. And then Ashley sells that one that's
Beauty Counter?
Yeah, Beauty Counter. I think is that clean?
I think they have clean products in there. I don't think everything is clean, and I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Don't quote me. I apologize, Ashley, but look into Beauty Counter.
This is where EWG comes in. Like
100%.
Run that stuff through EWG. It's such a great resource, and then you have more clarity.
And I think the cool part is you don't have to run everything through EWG for the rest of your life. Once you find a product that's clean, once you find a product that works, then periodically you should check it because companies do change it,
sell out,
and they do get bought out, right? So it's important, but you shouldn't have to just do this and absorb all your time. Put the work in initially, and then it gets easier. Cool? Yep. Getting back to sunscreens, these are some of the biggest offenders of active ingredients. This came out a couple years ago that Hawaii was banning, and I think it was avobenzone, and I think maybe one more, but Hawaii was banning that active ingredient in the sunblocks that were sold on the island because it was destroying the coral reefs around the island. Huge environmental issue, but did everywhere else ban that chemical? Is it just bad for the coral reefs, or is it potentially bad for us too? And again, when we put sunscreens on, we're out in the sun, our pores are open, we're in the heat, we're absorbing more of this stuff, and skin cancer is going through the roof, right? Huge, huge thing. And nobody talks about sunscreen. We're just talking about how bad the sun is.
Well, you just got to cut it out. If you have a cancer, a skin cancer, you just have to cut that out.
Yeah, back to all
And
the
then
habits that you did that caused the
Make
cancer.
sure you put the sunscreen on.
We're going to, 100%. Oh, probably more because you got skin cancer now. So you have to use more.
Hey,
And
listen, sun does not give us cancer. What's on the inside, how our terrain is, how our ecosystem is directly related to how our skin deals with the sun. So there's a
bold
lot.
things to say, Coach.
There is
Bold.
a lot there, but we have to clean up the inside to get healthier skin so that we're protected on the outside, and that does take time.
Studies show that if you have a diet rich in antioxidants like blueberries and other types of things like that, that you burn in the sun way less easy. Other things, right? Seed oils, the balance between omega-3s and omega-fats, you burn way easier when that's out of balance, right?
Yeah.
So stinking interesting. So we do have a sunscreen, like a sun guide article and a handout on our website with some of the brands that we recommend and food kind of sources that we recommend and times to get out in the sun that are best, times to get out in the sun that are the worst times to get out in the sun.
How to use an umbrella, how to wear a hat, how to clothe yourself. You know, you don't always have to have sunscreen.
I love it. Love it. Ideal sun exposure is key. Overexposure is the problem. Okay, toothpaste. You used to like this toothpaste, didn't you?
Yeah, well, when I was a little kid and I saw those lines on the advertisement on television, I was like, oh my gosh, I always want a toothpaste that's got colors in it.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
And then I had brown teeth because of the fluoride that they put in the water in Elkhart, Indiana.
Isn't that interesting? Fluorosis of the teeth causes
Brown teeth.
Yeah.
Then they had to go and whiten my teeth with some other chemical to cover it up. So there you go.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. So, you know, another example, just like the water, is if, you know, somebody's brushing their teeth once a day, their fluoride exposure is small, right? Yeah. Potentially small. But if somebody's brushing their teeth 3 times a day and being a great student, right, they're absorbing more fluoride and, again, potentially doing more harm. And you heard about what Coach said about his teeth, but again, this is a neurologic toxin, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier very easy. So find a toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride in it.
Amen.
We kind of just briefly had on that slide heavy metals, but we might as well expand upon it a little bit more. You can see here lead. Lead was banned in paint. Lead was banned in gasoline, I want to say in the 80s, right? However, lead takes 4 generations to be removed from the body. We could talk all day about the toxins of heavy metals, but one of the biggest offenders, since we were talking about toothpaste, is these amalgam fillings, these silver fillings. So amalgams are categorized that over 50% of it is usually mercury. Now it can be mixed with other things, and I wish I knew maybe some of the other metals that are in there. Sometimes there's brass, sometimes there's gold, sometimes, you know, there's other, again, things mixed with the mercury. But it's interesting because when it gets shipped to the dental office, it comes in one of these biohazard packages. When the dentist takes those mercury or amalgam fillings, silver fillings, that's probably it, silver and mercury. Yeah, I said gold, and I said, what did I say the other one? Gold, silver. Silver and mercury are the 2 things that are mixed together to make amalgam. Sorry, guys, sometimes I'm a little slow. We'll just blame it on it being early. But again, the practitioners take it out of your mouth, it has to be shipped away in a biohazard bag. So we know that this stuff is toxic. It's just absolutely wild, right?
That's crazy. Like the shipment bringing this into the dental office has like SWAT team and police cars following this truck that's bringing.
Well, it's just like the hazmat suits, right? That the family was eating, right? You know, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
You know, over here in my notes, I just have to make sure that we bring it up is the occupation that has the highest rates of suicide and the highest rates. This is interesting, of divorce. Don't quote me on that one. I have it in my notes, but I need to get the study. We should probably be sharing links when we talk about that stuff. But the highest rates of divorce are actually in the dental profession. Very interesting, right? Very interesting.
But they all have big houses and really nice cars.
Different topic. If you want to geek out on this a little bit more, there is a really cool imaging if you type into YouTube smoking tooth. And what it shows is there's a certain filter that allows you to see the vapor a little bit more. But when an amalgam filling is exposed to heat or cold, like a hot coffee, or when it's exposed to chewing gum or chewing hard things like, if you're a nail biter, right? Or if you chew a lot of steak and grizzle and grit and stuff like that.
If you're one of those that crunches hard candy.
Perfect example. Sorry, I missed that one. Is it actually the vapors of these amalgam fillings? The vapor comes off of it, and you can visually see it. It's really wild.
That's crazy.
So if you want a dentist who considers this kind of stuff, the website is IAOMT, and I forget what that stands for. International Association of Oral
Smoking Tooth.
Yeah. Natural dentist, right? Holistic dentist.
They're awesome.
Yeah,
they're very
cool.
functional minded. They know about how important the gut is and absorption is. It's cool stuff.
So when they take this stuff out of your mouth, you and the practitioner are protected, right?
Yeah.
Can't breathe it in. It doesn't going to soak into the saliva and into the skin and the mucous membranes. If you have these, look into getting them out. And these are the great practitioners in Southwest Florida.
Yep.
Okay, so continue to move here.
This is good.
I think we will not be finishing this today. So you'll see a different outfit coming up on us soon. So there's the spoiler warning. But where do the majority of your children spend their time? Mine are not sleeping the majority of their time, unfortunately. But our little ones are always in a diaper for the first period of time in their life, right? And if there is bad stuff in those diapers, right, those are right over the reproductive organs, right? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, your little one is in a diaper. So it's super important to make sure that they are clean. Anything you want to add there?
Yes. This is how I know that a certain fungus will eat plastics because I can't remember the guy's name, but he created Four Sigmatic coffee, the mushroom coffee. And he now has a diaper company that has this fungus, this mushroom, in the diaper.
Super cool.
To eat some of the stuff that, he puts in the diaper in the landfill. So, it's crazy. This one hit me hard because I'm like, oh my gosh, every kid wears a diaper.
Yeah.
And what is that touching? Where is that? It's just like, the plastics in our underwear. This is already starting in that child.
And, every time you're changing a diaper, are the ingredients in the wipes clean? There's tons of clean options out there.
Wipes.
And if there's a diaper rash, what are the creams? What are the things that we're using when we put that on there? And I think the part that's so interesting is later on in life, women or, girls as they transition into being a woman, they're getting their cycles at a younger and younger age. They're developing so much differently than, decades ago. And, whether it's on the female side or whether it's on the male side, infertility is the latest epidemic. It just continues to drop our ability in this specifically in America to reproduce, but it's a national or it's a global thing right now.
Oh, it's huge.
It is
Huge.
Anything else you want to say on this one?
Oh, little Curran.
That's
Do
my
a
little
backflip.
guy.
Do a backflip.
Little did I know, huh? Little did we know. Okay, so how about this? Let's leave it there. We're going to come back. So we'll clip it right there.
Perfect. Get into toxins in cleaning products.
We are picking up here just a short little cut there. Coach, nice outfit, man.
Thank you. Change.
Fastest outfit change that there ever was. Okay, we're jumping into toxic cleaning products here to continue on our hunt of all things nasty. So some estimates show that our indoor air quality is 100 times more polluted than our outdoor air quality. Why is that, Coach?
Probably because of these Glade plugins. Oh my gosh. I don't know about you, but when I walk into a room with this stuff in it, I can immediately tell and I immediately get a headache because of the toxicity. Yeah. So I imagine because the walls of the house are blocking all this air in and it's just recirculated through the AC vents. There's no movement to get this stuff out.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. It's hard for our body to process this. And again, especially when we inhale it and get it in so quick. Just to, again, to continue, so many of these products that we have, surface cleaners or laundry detergent cleaners, or actually laundry detergent's coming up next. But dishwashing detergent, these little pouches that come in these plastic little bags that, apparently dissolve, but those chemicals are still there.
Yep.
All of this stuff has the keep out of reach of children badge, right? They're known carcinogens, but we continue to put them underneath our sink, correct?
Yeah, and when we put it on our sink or in our tub, like it's not leaving, it doesn't just wash down the drain. Some of that remnant stays. And like you mentioned, the Cascade plastic, pods, that disintegrates the plastic. That plastic's going on the cups.
Yeah.
So, toxic stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Detergents, some pretty nasty things on this list over here that these are linked to. And again, go over to the EWG. They've got their cleaning products guide where you can see some of the dirtiest, biggest offenders. And again, what they're linked to here. See a lot of bad ones with the Brain here and Tide. And, just to make matters worse, not just Tide, but putting them in the little pods, right? Remember when people were eating those? Remember when kids, there was the Tide Pod Challenge?
What?
Do you remember? No? Oh, man, that was pretty wild. People were trying to eat, kids were trying to eat the pods.
What?
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Like as a game?
Shout out, put it in the comments if you remember. Do not tell us, though, if you did it yourself, okay? For you will forever be judged from both of us.
Do a major detox.
Pretty wild. Okay, so we just went through cleaning products. Now we're going to go to some technology. And for a lot of us, this is the forbidden fruit area of not to touch, right? This has just infiltrated our lives in such a big way.
Yeah.
Coach, what do you think of these things, man?
Yeah. Little microwaves on our body. It's really scary because we're all, me included, addicted to these things, and our life has become so easy because of these things, and so it's very hard to give them up. Like I switched to a corded headphone from these earbuds, Bluetooth, and it was a very, very difficult thing to do because I had a cord that I would run into all the time. But the thing here is electromagnetic frequency. So this is dirty electromagnetic frequency. This is non-native electromagnetic frequency, and this affects our cells of our body, and our body has to take in what it's emitting out. So this next slide will show you kind of like some imaging of what the cell phone can do. Like you see here on a 5-year-old kid, it's got way more of an impact than an adult. And it's crazy. Like when we put these phones in front of children, they're so addicted to them. They're like immediately all their attention goes right to that screen.
It's so wild.
It's got a major effect. Like you can see it here.
So going upon what Cason said there, the hit YouTube show Coco Melon. There's a lot of psychology apparently behind that one, and there's YouTube videos if you guys want to go check it out. But the timing of how they change scenes, the colors, the contrast, there's a lot of science that goes to make it as addictive of a thing as possible. Wow. But if we're going to continue to talk about wireless stuff here, this is a top-down view of a skull, right? And what we're looking at there is kind of a heat map. If somebody's holding up a phone next to the head on the right side of that ear, you can kind of see the ear bubble off the side. You can see that the immaturity of the thickness of a 5-year-old skull allows for the frequency, the heat, or the whatever you want to say, the wireless, right, to permeate deeper into the head, where you see the adult on the far right there, that the thickness of that skull is able to block some of that penetration from that wireless activity. But, I think there's a lot to be said, going back to this slide too, right, about the different technologies. I think cell phone and 4G and 5G versus a Wi-Fi versus Bluetooth. If I had to say what's lowest energy and what's least harm, would probably be Bluetooth, right? Yeah. We talk about this with some of our patients, and having those earbuds in all day, it might not be how strong Bluetooth is, but it's more so how consistent it is. And again, what's in between these two earbuds is our neurologic tissue, right?
And they're talking to each other. They're talking to each other, and then they're emitting frequency back to the phone. So it might not be as strong as holding your phone up to your head, but the duration, the time that they're in. Like you see the people driving with them in, they're working with them in, they're walking with them in, or their Apple Watch as well. So that's, again, not as strong as a phone, but it's all the time.
And it's just, so Wi-Fi maybe is less bad, right? Which we're going to have a kind of a slide here in Wi-Fi and some good habits. But again, the 4G, 5G technology. And if you think about why we're saying it's bad, think about the range of Wi-Fi. The range of Wi-Fi, if you've got a big house or a big yard, you might not be able to even blanket, connection for you in a big house or a big yard. But if you think about a cell phone tower, how many, blocks or how many yards or how many miles is that going? How many houses is that having to penetrate through? How many brick walls is that having to penetrate to so that you can get signal on your cell phone? And you think about, obviously that's going right through our body as well, right? Yep. And every cell membrane, every ounce of DNA, every strand of DNA that you've got in your body is going to be in the middle of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so wireless exposures, there we go. So the thing that I guess that I would say, actually, why don't you take the couple top ones? I'll take the bottom two.
Okay. So I think the thing that I want to speak on here is that our cells are frequency. Our cells are energy. So the way that glucose enters into the cell to allow the mitochondria to have energy is all based on a frequency or it's complicated, but that's energy. That's a vibration that is emitted by these two particles. And so what's happening when our Wi-Fi is on all day in our house, it's emitting another frequency that our body has to deal with or compete with. And so you see here it can interfere with our pineal gland. Our pineal gland is a hormonal gland in our brain that secretes melatonin and serotonin. And that's our day and night timer. That's our circadian rhythm. So these frequencies are messing up rhythms in our body that are natural that we need. And I think that's a big cause of sickness in today's society because it's rampant, like it's not stopping, like it's getting heavier and heavier and heavier and faster and faster and faster. Like Cade was saying, it's permitting or emitting more frequency so that we can connect quicker and faster and through more.
And what Coach was saying, about circadian rhythms, our eyes and the sun is just picking up on a frequency, right? As that sun goes down, our eyes are picking up on a different frequency. Yeah. And it's more likely for our internal frequencies to get confused when we're exposed to more and more outside sources, outside frequencies, right? Yeah. So some of the things that you can do to protect yourself is stop buying, minimize your wireless devices in your house as much as possible. Nowadays, wireless is on our fridge, right? It's on our microwave. It's on our stove. It's on our washer and dryer. It's on our thermostats. It's just we are blanketed in our houses, right?
On our doorbell.
It's crazy. So hardwire as much as possible, right? If you have to be connected, hardwire as much as possible. If you buy a smart device, which again, it's getting harder and harder not to, disconnect the smart modules if it's possible to do that. If you can't, a couple ways that you can protect yourself is with Faraday fabric. And there's a lot of wallets with RFID protection that uses this. There's now maternal clothes that will put Faraday fabric over the belly to try to minimize wireless activity to, a pregnant mommy. Or you can just buy sheets of it, right? You can put sheets on your wall. You can put sheets on they sell paint with EMF blocking crystals, maybe, inside the paint.
Cell phone cases.
So beautiful. And I think it's called Safe Sleeve. That's the big one, right?
There's a bunch of them now. But
and if you can't find one that you like, just buy the fabric and cut it, to the shape of your case. Other things like if you use a laptop and it's on your lap a lot by your reproductive organs, get something that you can minimize that exposure constantly to those areas. If you're on a cell phone and you have the RFID protection or the Faraday fabric, try to do it on a speaker instead of putting that phone up to your head, right? If your kids are using a tablet, like when you're in the car, download the content ahead of time and put the tablet in airplane mode. There's just so many little things that you can do. One of our favorites is buying a Christmas light timer for your Wi-Fi router at your house. So when you're not using that thing at night and you're sleeping, the Wi-Fi router can be off instead of it continuously emitting those frequencies and interrupting your sleep. Anything else you want to add there?
If you get the Christmas light timer, just make sure that you pay heed to the daylight savings time, because we didn't, and now we're watching Christmas movies, and the Wi-Fi goes out.
That's awesome. I love it. All right, another big one. What do you think of this thing?
Oh, baby. This is all the talk right now. But not just to weather modulate, to spray for mosquitoes, to crop dust to spray on our crops. But yeah, you can see what it's emitting in the air. We're breathing that in. Our lungs are the most sensitive organ in our body. They're taking in and out so many things all the time. And a lots of times we can't see it. We just breathe it, and we don't know how toxic it is.
Yeah, there's just a couple examples there, and it's pretty wild thinking about, you know, how much attention these things get and how bad we know that they are. Yet our indoor environment is still 100 times more polluted than it's wild. You know,
that has places to go, right? And the earth knows how to detox itself. In our house, it's harder.
Oh, it's so interesting. So, you know, getting back to this, if you live down here in Naples or Southwest Florida, the mosquito spraying is a big thing. We live in a beautiful area, but it is a swamp. And so a lot of bug pest mosquito spraying goes on, but there's an app for it, and you can see when they're spraying. And in an ideal situation, you're not going outside for 24 hours. There's an elevation when they spray that chemical that it comes down to and it sets at to impact the mosquitoes as best as possible. But it also, as we breathe that in, and it actually kills some of the lung tissue, and it can mimic a lot of this like hoarse voice, this lung congestion, this cough, this itch in your throat that won't go away.
Oh, the weird sickness that's been going around.
That weird tickle, huh? That weird tickle just in time for season. It's just wild, huh? As more people come down here. So if you can stay out of outside for 24 hours, that's hard to do. But yeah, that app is a great source of information. All right, how about this one, Coach?
Oh, baby. So toxic thoughts. You know, we don't have too many slides on this, but this is what's running our default mode network, our system, our state of our body all the time. How happy we are, how depressed we are, how angry we are, where we're at in our state on a moment to moment basis matters. So this, you know, if you're trying to detox, if you're all about detoxification, but yet you haven't detoxed your thoughts, you know, your innermost being, that would be the place to start, because that's running the show, that's running the detox more than your box of supplements that you're going to take to detox.
Oh, it's such a good way of putting it, right? Like you could eat right, you could sleep right, you could move right, but if that mind isn't thinking right, you can only get so far. You know, another part of this, I think, going through this detox talk can kind of feel a little bit negative because we're just hitting on thing after thing on thing. And it's hard. It feels like sometimes we get so focused on, you know, the rules of food or the rules of toxicity that we put up these protective barriers that end up turning into a prison, right? And so what we would say is, even though we just went through a lot of great information, don't let it turn into something that stresses you out more than it helps you, right? Make the best decisions you can. But like what we talked about is, you know, and we're going to talk about more in a second here, is that you've got a liver for a reason. You've got kidneys for a reason. You sweat for a reason, right? Your body's meant to detox. And the easier you make that on your system, the better it is. But don't put yourself in a prison and make it a stressful thing, correct?
Yeah, because that's not going to help. Our body has two sides of the nervous system, fight or flight and rest and digest. And if we're in fight or flight too much, then detox isn't going to turn on in the first place, or it's not going to be as effective as it could be. So find peace.
If you find yourself feeling stressed, Coach and I put together a pretty awesome stress talk where we jump into the sources that it comes, how to measure if your system's in a state of stress, you know, and if you're just feeling stuck, right? If you're just feeling frustrated, go listen to that talk. A lot of times the bigger issue that most of us deal with is between the ears rather than what's outside of us. So. All right, so after going through all the stress stuff, if you're still not convinced that we live in a toxic world, the heck's going on in our medicine cabinet?
Well, just take a pill. Just take a pill. It's that easy.
How could we forget, huh?
Yeah, right. So these things have direct effects. These medications are not just the answer, right? They're switching some kind of chemical component in our body, but that then has an intern or downstream effect into other cells. So, these are very, very toxic, believe it or not.
And I think it's important to say, Coach and I are not saying that this is the devil and don't ever, ever, ever use. there's sometimes a time and a place, and especially when it's an emergency. But the problem becomes we continuously reach for a pill to try to manage our systems instead of ever asking why they're there in the first place, which we encourage you to do. So just picking on low-hanging fruit, antibiotics are so commonly used. It's the first thing that we typically reach for. A lot of times, even when it's a fungal thing or a viral thing, when antibiotics really don't have much of a use. In fact, they have a greater cost, right? But look at this link with breast cancer. And I have in my notes here that I needed to go back and find the study for this. So I apologize to those of you that I can't cite a study on this. Somewhere in my notes, somewhere in my slides, it's there. But antibiotic risk and all forms of cancer is up there in a big, big way. Coach, you remember this statistic?
No, take it.
All right. This one's pretty cool. So we are 37 out of 37 in America. We're ranked 37 in terms of overall health of all the other 37 top developed nations. So again, that statistic is pretty eye-opening, but here's another one in America. We are 5% of the world's population, yet we consume 75% of the world's medications. We are overdosed, overdrugged, over-zombified, and yet we continue to get sicker and sicker. So quote by William Osler, the person who takes medication must recover twice, once from the disease and once from the medicine.
Amen.
Yeah. And he's not really just talking about one thing there for diseases. He's talking about all medicine. Yeah. That is the case.
It's so blatantly obvious what the reason behind medicine is or pharmacy is.
Well, it's so obvious. What is it? What is it?
Control.
Okay. So if our point here, if you didn't get it already, is that toxins are unavoidable, right? We are surrounded by them in every direction, right? And with that being said, every person's body needs this out, right? That is just something we can't argue, okay? So take a little breather, because that's a lot of information. The reminder is that we are made to be well. We are made to be healthy. This isn't something that God missed and didn't see happening, but we do need to take our action on it, okay? So now that we've gone through toxins, right, where they're coming from, now we're going to start jumping into and talking about the best ways to detox, right? And is the best way to detox $1 million worth of supplements and pills and capsules?
Well, don't start there.
Okay.
Don't go there first. Like right now, step one. First things first, minimize them from coming in. And now you guys have a great understanding of where they come from. We just went through a lot. So our body's made to detox, and I just want to say this again because it's so important. Don't freak out. Don't stress. Like, your body knows what to do. So again, the more rested and calm you are, the better it's going to work in the first place. So we're meant to detox. Our skin detoxes. Our livers and kidneys detox. When we poop, we detox. Lymphatic flow is a detoxification. Our breathing is detox, right? So it's happening all the time. So we're okay. We're okay.
So if you're not, Coach, what's a good sign that our skin is detoxing and working effectively?
Sweating.
Love it.
Sweating. Even a rash, even a symptom, right? Like sometimes symptoms, well, actually all the time, symptoms are a good thing because the body's right 100% of the time. So like even a rash could be a good thing, especially if you're just starting a detox. There's things that are moving.
And sometimes a rash can be a sign of too much detox, which we're going to talk about here in a second, right?
Yeah.
How about looking at your poop, right? Any signs there of what is ideal as far as detox and less than ideal?
Absolutely. I don't know if we have a slide on here of the Bristol stool chart.
I don't think we do on this one.
But you can go look it up on the internet, the Bristol stool chart. And on there is different types of poop. Type 4 poop is what we want. It's a nice, easy turd. It's a good dump. It's like the poop emoji in the bottom of the toilet. But if you don't poop enough, if you poop too much, or if there's issues with your digestive system, blood in the stool, or you wipe and you see blood, like there's stuff going on there that are big signs of what's going on in our detoxification system.
How about signs that the lymphatic system isn't working ideally?
So again, sweat. If you're not sweating, you probably have stuck lymph. If you have some hormone issues, if you get armpit rashes, gosh, what else? If you're, stuck weight, like sticky weight and yeah, go ahead, Cade, with the
stuck weight, congestion, chronic, swollen lymph nodes. I think those are all good signs. Okay, so if we just talked about those are our big detox organs that our body is made with that are always working. What are some things we can do to help those work better, right? And this one goes to what you just said. Go for it. Take it one more time.
Yeah, rest and digest. Rest and digest. So remember, poop is a great detoxification. I think it's probably one of our biggest detoxification pathways. So if you're not resting and digesting, if you're not resting and pooping well, then there's an issue with detox. So peace, man.
Be happy. Have fun, right? If you find it hard to enjoy yourself, I think that's a sign that your body's dysregulated and out of balance, right? If you find it hard to have a good bowel movement, I think that's a good sign you're dysregulated. If it's hard for you to fall asleep, I think it's a good sign you're dysregulated. So lots of things there, but the more you are in a peaceful state, the better your body can detox, the better you're sleeping. That's a big one, especially neurologic detox when we sleep, right?
It's the body's so amazing, and we're not even doing it. Like we're sleeping and it's working for us. God is working for us. So, if sleep is an issue, start there. Start there.
I think that's a good thing too, right? If you're not sleeping well, you can only get so far with other techniques. Right. Optimize that sleep first. We got a spring here next to movement because rebounders, trampolines, vibration plates are freaking amazing. Even just walking. Movement is so stinking good. Ideally, you're doing it to the point where you're sweating, but every time that you move and gravity's pushing down, or if you're swimming through the water, it's almost like a lymphatic massage, and we're encouraging movement there, right?
The lymph is moving while we're walking. It has to be. That's the bouncing of our body.
And that, for a lot of people, helps them poop. Inflammation hates oxygen. Cancer hates oxygen. Oxygen is so important to get into the system, and it helps balance things out. So that's a big breath in cold weather right there. But awesome. Just an encouragement to get out there and move. And if that's too much to ask, or your situation doesn't allow you to get outside as much as you'd like to, just do some breathwork techniques inside your home. All right.
Oh, baby. Yeah. So, I mean, movement, sweat. Like you guys have all heard about the saunas, like the saunas that you can buy for your house. You can go to a business and use them. Sweating is a great form of detoxification.
Awesome. Shout out to Billy and Vitality right here in our parking lot. Guys, get over there. Wonderful thing. Last one that we have here to naturally help your body is chiropractic. And, I think other things that we could potentially put here too would be like massage or body work, right? Lots of different things there. But we'll specifically talk in this category about chiropractic and how neurology is going to help your system. So we'll jump into that real quick, and then we'll hand it over to Coach Cason to talk about what's happening at a cell level. So love this quote by B.J. Palmer. Every organ in your body is connected to the one under your hat, including every detox organ that we just talked about, right?
There you go.
And we talk about how important food is, but if we minimize or cut out food from our life, I just had somebody yesterday say that their son did Brian said that his son did a 40-day water fast. 40-day water fast, right?
Whoa.
So he didn't eat food for 40 days, just water.
Whoa.
Right? So food's important, but we can go 40 days without it, right?
Yeah.
Water's important, but we can go maybe 3 days, maybe 5 days without it. Air's important. We can hold our breath for a couple minutes, but the second that we cut the nerve to the heart, or the nerve to the lungs, or the nerve to the pancreas, whatever is at the end of that nerve, whatever organ it is, dies immediately, right? That nerve system doesn't just give those organs power, it gives those organs life and their ability to heal and regenerate. And I think if we're talking about the importance of the nerve system, well, we have to talk about what protects the nerve system, which is the spine, right? And if that spine's in the right position, the nerves can work at their best. If it's not in the right position, it doesn't just impact the nerves, but again, it impacts everything that those nerves are connected to. So on the right side of my screen, we see a healthy spine when we're looking at it from the front, and the spine on the left, we see a spine that's curved 9 degrees over to the right and then 11 degrees back over. And this is going to impact the neurology, specifically the nerves that goes to the digestive organs, the liver, and the adrenal glands. And again, we could be taking the best supplements or doing the best exercise or getting the best sleep, but if that spine spine looks like that, again, it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when it's going to impact those organs. So here's an MRI looking a little bit deeper. You can see the kidneys in this shot. You can see the spine. You can see the disc. You can see something that's under a tremendous amount of stress, right? Not just physically, but neurologically as well.
Wonder how they're pooping.
Oh, it's just wild to think about, or how they're moving, right? Or all these, it's just wild. So again, a normal x-ray looking at the low back from the side on the right over here, and one that has a lot of dysfunction, arthritis, degeneration, scar tissue on the left side. Those nerves go out to the pelvic floor. They go out to the colon. They go out to the prostate. They go down to the butt, down to the legs, right? As long as that's there, we can only get so far. Another MRI showing direct impact. I need to start putting arrows on these MRIs. I was thinking about that the other day. So if I move my mouse, you're not going to see it on my side. But again, this is showing direct neurologic implication. When there's a spine issue, there's a nerve issue. So just to reiterate that, when the spine is right, the nerves are right, and so are the organs. And flip-flop for when the spine isn't right, the nerves aren't right, and so can't be the organs.
It's so cool. Structure dictates function. Like when you understand how the spine is supposed to be shaped, and you can see its balance, and then you look at something that isn't in balance, like it's just so common sense that would
cool, isn't it?
Make a dysfunction.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's another one of those things. When you see it, you can't unsee it.
Exactly.
So just to reiterate, love this quote that it differentiates the difference between chiropractic and, I guess, or natural health versus Western medicine.
Yeah.
Medicine is the study of death and disease and what causes man to die. And ain't that the truth? You know, chiropractic or life strength or blood work, the stuff that Coach and I talk about on a daily basis is a study of life and health and what causes man to live.
Let's live.
So if visuals aren't a thing for you, maybe numbers are, right? People that are under regular chiropractic care spend 85% less on drugs. So that's a good reason.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, I love it. So cool. Okay, so we talked about minimizing toxins. We talked about how to help your body handle the toxins that are coming into our life. Now let's jump into how to get rid of the old. What's the first slide here, Coach?
Avoid the money trap. Oh my gosh. Everything is a money trap. You know, it's really all a money grab. I can't remember what I was just seeing, but it was a marketing ploy, and it just blows me away. How all that Coco Melon, you know, like you're talking about how they're trying to get the kid to watch that screen. At the end of the day, there's some kind of money behind that.
And all the digital stuff isn't just aimed at the kids. How about all the things that are aimed at us to click to make a purchase, right? And whether it's a discount or a deal or a $39.99, right? Or a whatever, all this psychology, we're just going to encourage you to go through the marketing crap, right? So here's some interesting tidbits of a lot of the myths, right, that are out there about detox things.
Yeah.
You want to take this one or you want me to?
No, go ahead.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah. I'll chime in.
So statistics say that of the detoxes that are out there, 98% are not effective and 50% are not safe. That's a bold couple statistics there. So let's jump through a couple things. Cilantro, chlorella, spirulina, these are all natural things that are out there that do a great job as a chelator, meaning they help metals specifically get out of the cell. But if you're just taking those things, they might help it get out of the cell, but they're not binding and helping it get out of the system. Again, we're going to talk about an order and a sequence and go back to the Lorax throughout this. Glutathione supplements are all over the place. A lot of people do glutathione IVs. It's a wonderful, one of the most potent antioxidants that we have and we know of. It's the one that is the master antioxidants internally. But again, it's not a binder. So it might be very effective at helping things get out of the cell. But are we really just kind of stirring up the pot? Great question. Zeolites, charcoal, those kind of things, clays, those are great things as binders, but they do nothing to help toxins get out of the cell. They simply just bind to it when they're available. Other things like EDTA, which are forceful chelators, helping things get out of the system. Sometimes they're applicable in like an acute toxic exposure, but they are not safe to get things out long term. And then same thing with DMSA. So anything you want to add to those?
Just the basics, like pooping, sweating, moving. Like if things are not working that you can notice, then you don't need all that fancy frilly stuff. You know, like you've got to use feedback, your common sense to understand that you're detoxing.
Can I just double down on that?
Mm-hmm.
There's no shortcuts, right? I think if you're not doing the foundations, right? Right, what Cason just said, if your system isn't doing it or working it by itself, if you go and spend a bunch of money on an IV, again, you can potentially make things way worse, right? If you're not sleeping good, like you have to handle the foundations of helping the body heal itself first before we jump into
that's
these things.
Exactly what that slide says. It's a business, you guys. Like if you get hooked by that marketing ploy and you want to put your email in, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But just back up and look what you're trying to accomplish. Look what you want to get out of this, right? Because it's a big business, and they're 9 times out of 10 trying to sell you a product that detoxes.
Oh, it's so tough. It's so tough. And, in my honesty, I was really into functional medicine for a bit in my career, and absolutely loved it because it's like an endless amount of information to learn. And I did a lot of the tests that are on the screen. I think there's a time and a place to do these tests. But for me, what I did was I skipped the foundations and I jumped into doing these, fancy, glittery, over-promise, under-deliver tests. And I wasn't helping people actually get healthy because I was skipping the foundations.
And like Dr. Cade said, at times some of these tests are useful, right? But unfortunately, just like the marketing of a product, of a supplement, we've got marketing now for testing. We've got marketing to practitioners to buy this lab's test, because that test will show you what's in your patient. And then you know what to do. But at the end of the day, a lot of these tests aren't scientifically valid. Their company that's making the test is, handpicking the studies that they use to show that test works. So it's
scary, isn't it?
It's a big deal.
Yeah. So just like we said, over testing is a real thing. So, if if you're just getting into things on functional medicine, if you're just getting into all of this stuff, where do we recommend starting? Not at a stool test, not at a hair test or a saliva test. We recommend starting back at the beginning and checking the foundation.
Blood chemistry. Blood chemistry is time tested as far as what we know, right? And we don't know anything. We know nothing, even with the blood. Like insulin was just discovered in 1970. That's not that long ago.
Yeah.
And we're finding more hormones, like GLP-1 right now is all the rage. That's a hormone that affects our body, right? And we're just now starting to study these. So you have to ask yourself, is the test accurate, reliable, scientifically accepted? One really big deal is what the reference ranges are that they're using, right? The reference ranges on a blood chemistry panel that a conventional doctor uses compared to what we use here at Life Strength are completely different. Yep. And that changes the entire outcome of that lab, right? So interpretation matters, how knowing what marker is doing what cellularly. There's so many different variables that we need to take into account.
Yeah. Can you give an example? I always love picking on you about cholesterol, right?
Yeah.
And that just being a stock number for men and women and for a 15-year-old versus a 72-year-old. Give them some examples of where that optimum range changes.
So total cholesterol, it changes based on gender, so man and woman, and then age. Like, for example, over 60-year-old women can have a higher total cholesterol than over 60 men. This is based on the scientific literature, right? Human clinical trials showing longevity, showing end-stage mortality. So, and then anybody under 60, man and women, their reference ranges changes. So these kind of things are very big. They matter a lot. But conventional wisdom will say anybody that's over 200 total cholesterol needs a statin.
Regardless of their activity or their sleep or their stress or other factors, right?
So many different
it's so
variables.
Interesting. One size fits all approach. If this, then that, right? What do we really need a doctor for if it's just an if this, then that approach?
Yeah, and there's like so much value on a complete blood count with differential. There's so much value on a complete metabolic panel. Those two tests combined cost us probably or you, the patient, $16 to get those 2 tests. And you can see, there's 20 some markers there that we're going to have to understand you more. Okay. So these blood markers are very, very valuable. And, for bang for your buck, you're getting way more than you would on some of these other fancy frilly tests.
And again, going back to, the basics, a lot of times we're putting organ systems, right, and an individual as a whole in front of what's happening all the way down here at the bottom. And when these little guys are well, then everything else can start working the right way.
That's it. Think back to the beginning of this talk when we looked at the cities zoomed out, right? All those cities zoomed out are the system, right? We zoom in on the cell to the little individual houses in those little squares. How that house is functioning has everything to do with the bigger picture.
Yeah, we got to have our eye on both of those things. Okay, well, let's keep going. We're going to continue to jump into what's happening down there at a cellular level. Excited for you to go through this, Coach.
Yeah, so this is all about the cell. This is all about fixing the cell to be able to detox well. And so each individual cell has to be working optimally for that tissue to work optimally. Like our lymph system is made from a bunch of cells. Our kidneys are made from a bunch of cells, liver, gut, our brain. Everything in our body is just a whole bunch of cells put together into a tissue, and that tissue is an organ. So we're going to help to get this stuff out. We're going to help to start to move out the toxins, and then, well, we'll go through it, but bind to them so that we can eliminate them.
So this is going to get a little dorky, right? And we're going to just go through, 1, 2, 3 here is the 3 phases of detox. And we're going to start with the 4 R's of cellular healing. And why again? Why cellular healing?
Yeah, so it's all about the cell. It's all about the cell.
All right, so here's the 4 R's. Remove the source, which we're going to talk about each one of these things. We're going to talk about regenerating the membrane. We're going to talk about restoring cellular energy and reducing inflammation. Okay, so we already went through removing the source, though, didn't we? Do we need to talk about that anymore?
No, I don't think so. You guys get the picture. There's a lot coming in. So the more that we get rid of, the better we're going to help our body to detox.
Okay. So then we're going to jump right into R2, which is regenerate the membrane. Now, I've heard you talk about this a ton, and I love that in your background and your continuous studies, it comes back to the cell membrane. And everything from a couple of my mentors that I learned that helped me get the farthest with functional medicine, it was all about the cell membrane.
Yeah.
Why is this so important?
Because that's what's letting things in to the cell, and that's what's letting things out to the cell. It's permeable. Like things can come in, things can go out. So it matters what things are coming in and what things are going out. And Bruce Lipton, he's the grandfather of epigenetics, which means above genetics. It's a really cool science. And he says that the cell membrane is the brain. He calls it the membrane. It's the brain of the cell because it's what's doing all of the, detoxing, thinking, letting things in, letting things out. So you can see this picture here, how there's little passageways or doorways all over the place, little antennae that are seeking and hearing and listening to information, whether or not to let things in or out of the cell.
Can we go back to the analogy of the previous slide?
Sure.
So one of my favorite analogies that I was taught was this idea of the gas, right? We've got a gas tank here that for our engine to run, we have to get fuel into the gas tank, right? And if this membrane isn't working right to allow things into the cell for that cell to do, it's kind of like the equivalent of not opening up your gas tank and just pouring gas all over your car, right? If you're going to do a glutathione IV, it's kind of like that, right? Are you knowing that glutathione is getting into the cell? Are you knowing that, again, it's produced by the body, the receptors of that cell membrane are taking that glutathione into the cell? Or are we just pouring it all over the top of the cell and saying, oh, I hope we get somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And the most basic of that is glucose. Glucose entering into the cell. Like if you're not getting glucose into the cell, you don't have a chance to detox.
How about we do have a Bristol stool chart?
We do.
I said no when you said it. I'm so glad that we do. What are some signs that at a cell level that things are working appropriately based off of poop?
Here it is. Here's type 4. Look at type 4 right in the middle. Okay, that's where we want to keep our focus, right? And so if we see something that's a stool that's too slow, right, dehydrated, not coming out well enough, like type 1, we're off, right? Our body is not detoxing well. If we see something like a number 7 or number 6, where our poop is real stringy and not whole, and we have to go a lot during the day, that can be a sign that we're off. So it's all about balance, and number 4 is the balance.
So just notice on this graphic for the first time, there's little splashes where the poop is entering the water. Hilarious. Okay, so if we fix that membrane, we're absorbing fat appropriately, right? Which is super important for that lipid bilayer you talked about, right? And those receptors are working. Now we can potentially get some energy into the cell, correct?
Yeah, 100%. And you have mitochondrial health on here. The energy into the cell, it needs to be there for the mitochondrial health. So they're the little powerhouses of our cell from what we know, and they create energy. They create that cell to be able to do the function that it needs to do. So
again, if you're getting gas into the fuel tank, the engine can run. If you're getting sugar, blood sugar, and vitamin B into the cell, now the engine of that cell can actually work appropriately, right? Yep. If we're not getting gas into the tank, we're going to run out and be on empty in our car. We're not going to drive from point A to point B, right? Yep. If we're not getting the fuel into the cell, well, that's where, fatigue happens. That's where brain fog happens. That's where there's a deficiency inside that cell. That's when we're just exhausted. We're gassed, and we just don't have enough in the tank, if you will. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, and we can have leaks in our tank as well, where the tank isn't holding its fuel. So, there's I mean, it's all about energy. We have to have the energy to make that cell work.
So just to take what Coach just said about leaks in the cell, we can also have, if we don't have a permeable membrane and getting fuel into the cell, that just like our car needs fuel, it also burns fuel and has waste products, exhaust. We can actually have a toxicity inside the cell as well, right? Yep. Where the waste products of that mitochondria are not getting out.
Exactly.
Right?
And a lot of times the cell will hold that. Yes. The cell will hold that for us because our body isn't at a state to be able to handle those toxins to come out.
And what's inside the cell, which our DNA is, right? And if we've got a toxicity in there, that can create a lot of damage to all the different parts of the cell, including the DNA.
Yeah, this is really cool. Now that you mentioned DNA, my wheels are starting to turn because that's the expression of the gene, right? So we're based on where we're at, the body's going to turn on or turn off different genetic expressions, different proteins, and that's sending more information. So
we're kind of playing between R2, 3, and 4 here, but the idea of what Coach and I are talking about fuel into the cell and waste products out of the cell is the idea of cellular respiration. And it's just like this man over here breathing, where we're bringing things in and we're breathing things out. Again, at a cell level, just like our lungs, that happens naturally. The body's designed to do that. But when that membrane is inflamed, it just doesn't happen the way it's supposed to. When there's a deficiency, it doesn't happen the way it's supposed to. And so it's just super, super important that this natural detox happens all the way down at that cell level. Anything else you want to say here? Maybe what about seed oils and affecting inflammation?
I'm just thinking standard American diet. I'm thinking, all those previous slides that we went through, you're reducing inflammation by eliminating those toxins in your life, just one by one, getting those things out of the house, getting those things out of your diet. That's going to help you to reduce your inflammation.
And when we zoom back in and we see how many stinking cells we're made of, it's wild, right? This domino effect, when we do things the right way, it's pretty incredible what can happen. But when we do it the wrong way as well, again, I don't know if we can really expect anything other than sickness and disease and dysfunction and dysregulation to happen. But it's so important to go beyond the symptoms. What's actually really causing this? Right?
Yeah. Here we go with the levels of organization. This is what I was speaking of earlier, that a whole bunch of cells make a tissue, a whole bunch of tissues make the organ. So the liver is a huge detoxification organ. That is made from hepatocytes, liver cells. Each of those cells has a specific function. Each of those cells needs cellular respiration, needs energy. It needs the things coming in and out. If they don't have that, then they're not going to work effectively. Our detox is going to be off. So, that makes us the organism.
So those are the 4 R's. Now let's jump into pathways.
Cool.
So love this picture. And I think that this just shows, we're going to have a couple more analogies here, that if we're doing things the right way, things just flow.
Yeah.
So what's the natural order of things on how we detox out of the body?
Yeah, so I don't know where it starts or where it ends, you know, because there's so many different variables. But you can see that our kidneys, our lymph, our cell, they're moving things out. Our liver, our gut, from our brain to our liver, right? From our liver to our gut. You can see the arrows. You just follow the arrows, and that is how we eliminate things. But like, let's say we have a stuck liver or a non-alcoholic fatty liver. Then there's a block in that road, and that's going to stop things from getting eliminated from our body.
Traffic jam.
Yeah. So
starting up at the top, we've got a cell, and we've got a cell on the left side, and we've got a brain on the right side. So a cell on the left side goes from the cell, and the cell eliminates things to the kidneys, which is on the far left, or the lymph tissue, which is kind of that crazy looking Mike Wazowski eye. And then we've got the liver, right? Those things are a direct outlet from the cell to that organ to out of the body, right? And on the brain over here, the brain goes to the liver, to the gut, and then out of the system, right? And so anywhere that we've got a break in this pathway, or like we said, a traffic jam, there's an opportunity for things to build up and get toxic. So when we go in and we do a detox, right, and we have this whole, the analogy here is we've got a dam, a reservoir, right, full of water, that if we release and open up this dam, and there's a traffic jam down the river, right, somewhere else, we're not going to have a flow. We're going to have a backup of things. Does that make sense, right? If those other channels aren't happening and flowing and leaving the body the right way. And that's what a lot of us are doing, is we have this whole reservoir, a whole lifetime of toxins that we've accumulated, and then we go and we do this detox, and we expect things to be rosy, where a lot of times we end up with bigger issues, right? It's so important to have those pathways clear, and what we talk about actually from here is starting from the bottom up, right? So a lot of times we'll use the word retoxification as kind of what we're saying, right? Where we jump into a detoxification system, and we're trying to do it maybe at the liver level, right? And then our gut isn't pooping the right way. And those toxins just sit in the gut because we're not eliminating it from pooping, right?
Exactly. What I see is we're buying a product. We buy a product thinking that it's going to do the thing for us. But like, real simple, guys, you have to be pooping well. You have to be sweating well. You have to be sleeping well. You have to be peeing well. You have to move, right? Like, all these different very, very easy things to understand in us, like, have to be working well in order to detox.
Retoxification's a real thing, and it's a dangerous thing, right? So if there is leaky gut and you jump in and you do a detox, you're gonna create bigger issues. Your whole sink is your whole ship is just going to sink, right? It's crazy, and we know for sure that when there's leaky gut, there's also
leaky brain.
Oh, we had to put this picture in there because it's just the coolest picture. So, some people, when they do a detox, they'll get weird mental issues, right? Where the anxiety goes up, right? Or brain fog happens. And it's a direct sign that there's leaky gut and you're retoxing, and those things that you think you're trying to get out of the system are just recirculating and they're depositing somewhere else. And it's harder to get rid of later on, isn't it?
That's what leaky gut is. Leaky gut is allowing the things that shouldn't be inside of our body into our body. So our gut is the barrier, right? And that barrier is broken. And so now toxins, Roundup, the stuff in the air that we're breathing in, the Glade plug-in, it's coming into our system and getting into our blood. And we don't want that.
There's a hole in your hull, right? Yep. You don't just, continue to put the motors at full bore. You got to go deal with that hole.
Sure.
Otherwise, the ship's going down, right? Yep. And so important to have this stuff done the right way. We see a lot of people that jump into a detox and they get this weird thing, right? Yeah.
You mentioned this earlier with a rash, right? Like you start a detox, right? You start putting castor oil on your liver, and now some crazy rashes happen. Or some crazy depressive type symptoms happen, or your mind can't focus, right? Go Go ahead, Cade, on the Herxheimer.
You know, Herxheimer, it's hard to differentiate when like that skin rash is a good thing and a natural thing that your body's trying to eliminate out. And then there's the opposite where you're being too aggressive and you're exceeding your body's ability to naturally detox, right? So Herxheimer is a big thing. And this can happen with antibiotics and this can happen with natural things, right? And so big signs here, not just skin changes, but all the other stuff here too is a good sign that your body is retoxing, right? That your body is circulating things, that you're exceeding your body's ability to naturally eliminate, right? So what's the best, if this has happened to you in the past and put you off from detox, remember, again, there's a sequence, there's an order, and if we do it the right way, this can be phenomenally successful. But a way to kind of get around this is with binders. Yep.
Let's go.
All right, go for it, Coach.
Yeah, look at these okra on here. If you've ever eaten okra or cracked one open, there's a gooey, sticky stuff in there. That's a binder. That works in our gut to bind toxins. So vegetables are the cheapest and easiest and most healthy choice of a binder, right? So eat your veggies. That's going to help your detoxification a ton. You hear people say, yeah, when I eat broccoli, I poop better. Well, there's a good sign, right?
Kaboom.
That's doing so many more things than you could imagine. But then we have charcoals and clays, right? We have zeolites. We have all sorts of cool products that we can also put into the whole detoxification that you're doing to help.
These are things that make your detox more effective, and these are things that can kind of like act as a safety net to make sure that retoxification isn't happening, right? So things like activated charcoal, bentonite clay, these are things that can be found in a ton of different products out there, but we have to know some of the limitations on charcoals and clays. They really only work in the gut. They don't go beyond the gut. You know, maybe if somebody's got leaky gut, I think an argument can be made there, right? That it's going to go systemic. But these are things that will bind in the gut, right? So charcoal is used in the emergency room when somebody overdoses on alcohol because it binds to the alcohol. So it doesn't have to get absorbed and be processed by the liver and create a bigger issue. The same thing happens when when we're detoxing and stuff is the liver is throwing things into the gut for an elimination of a bowel movement. You can use charcoal to bind to those toxins to get it eliminated. And now the things that we got to know is that charcoal and clays are not going to differentiate between things that are good. So if you're eating good food, we don't want to take charcoal with it. If you're taking a supplement or a medication, charcoal is going to bind to that too, right? So we want it to be about 90 minutes to 2 hours away from food or drink or medications or supplements. Now, if you need to go deeper and have something cross into the blood and start kind of binding to some things in the blood, zeolite is going to be your best choice. And for today's talk, we're going to stay away from specific product recommendations. There's a lot of great zeolites out there. There's a lot of not so great zeolites out there. So make sure that you're doing your homework and getting a quality product before you're jumping into things. All right. Holy moly. Woo. We made some progress. We got a couple minutes to close this up, so let's get it done. We've gone through a lot of stuff today, and here is kind of the things that we talked about. When does toxicity start? That was way back in the beginning. The symptoms that toxicity is causing. Where is it coming from? How to minimize the new toxins from coming in and creating damage, and how to get rid of the old toxins that you've accumulated. We've done all of it, right? Couple notes to take away. Love this quote. You can't negotiate with Mother Nature. We are surrounded by toxins. Do what you can to minimize the damage it's doing to you and your children and your family's health. Right?
You gotta put in the work. This is not an overnight fix. It's not a quick and easy fix. You can't just take charcoal every time you eat Chick-fil-A, and think that you're gonna be okay.
But I'm sweating, Coach. I'm sweating. What are you talking about? I'm detoxing. I'm getting that chicken sauce right out of me.
So
I detox on Sundays when Chick-fil-A's closed.
There you go.
I love it. If you are dealing with symptoms, it's really important to go beyond the symptoms and figure out what's actually causing it. Love that quote by Dr. Perlmutter that keeps our eyes fixed on that part. Coach talked about broccoli, and I think it's hard. Maybe you poop better with broccoli, but sometimes it's hard to measure, are the things I'm doing to try to build health really making a difference? Sometimes it's hard to measure that, right? But
that's what I like. Come see us, right? Ask for help. Watch this video, because 9 times out of 10 people don't even realize that they're on the right path because you can't see out of the noise. There's so much noise, but I'm talking people into them staying on this path because it's working. You just got to stick with it. And that brings up this slide. What state are you in? You know, like, are you stressed? Are you like freaking out because you don't think that you're detoxing in 1 week, you know, or are you on the right path? So having a practitioner that knows what they're doing and has seen this work out or play out in people is very important, because they'll help you. They can help you to know where you're at.
And I think, you know, helping people is really we're just teaching and we're just guiding, right? That's our biggest roles.
Yeah.
You're the one doing the heavy lifting.
Right.
Okay, so if you want a safe product list of the favorite products that we use, our favorite deodorants and our favorite cleaning sprays, different things like that, just we can't promise that they work, but you can email us, or like we shared with you numerous times today, go over to EWG.
Yeah.
Go do some homework. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised that there's a lot of answers out there. This doesn't need to be this big, hard thing. Okay. So what we're going to try to do, and just closing up in the last couple slides here, is give you some action steps you can take on your own. Kind of said that we were going to stay away from recommendations, but we've got a couple here, right?
Yeah, NAC and glycine, like anytime that I'm like, we're going to go on vacation here in a week, and I'm taking my NAC and glycine with me. I'm taking my charcoal with me, you know, because I'm going to have these things that I know will help me out when I'm away from my house and going to be exposed to more toxins. But yeah, glutathione is incredible. NAC is the precursor to glutathione, right? So you take NAC to increase this glutathione, which is an antioxidant that our body makes on its own. Yeah, go ahead, Cade. You can take the rest.
I think those are awesome options. I prefer NAC over glutathione, as we kind of talked about, and that's your stance too, correct?
Yep.
You know, anything you can do to help support your liver. I prefer a glandular option, meaning taking liver from an organic, you know, grass-fed, you know, free-range cow over herbal blends. You know, herbal blends are things like dandelion, burdock, artichoke. Those are herbal things that are helpful for the liver. One of the big things that's touted out there is milk thistle, but you have different research to show otherwise.
Yeah, according to Dr. Brian Walsh, milk thistle stops, I believe, phase 2 of liver detoxification. So the liver goes through different phases of detox, and milk thistle blocks one of those. So interesting that it's in every detox box.
From so many different brands too, right? And just to reiterate the importance of things that aren't supplements here down at the bottom. We talked about fiber quickly, but if you want a supplement, you know, other than eating more okra, acacia fiber, organic acacia fiber, and organic psyllium are very good sources of fiber. We talked about charcoal and zeolite as binders. And here's a couple great brands that put together packages for detoxes out there. So meaning if you just want to get started on your own and go jump into things, if you feel comfortable with that, Cellcore and Research Nutritionals have bundles that you can get that are phenomenal, that respect the process that we talked about today. Getting down to that cell level, getting after the membrane, the 4 R's, opening up the drainage pathways, if you will, so that your body can actually eliminate and again help you with a natural binder to prevent retoxification. Cool?
Respect the process. That's awesome.
No matter where you are, whether it's Southwest Florida or beyond, Coach Cason always does a free 15-minute consult, and you always get this awesome, happy face looking right back at you that's going to be encouraging and be a cheerleader, teaching you and guiding you on the way.
Asking you about your poop.
A lot of poop talk. A lot of poop talk. The 3 things that we stand on in this office are getting labs, a real strict evaluation of where your body is at a cellular level, optimizing things with food and supplements, but much more than that, sleep, toxicity, your stress levels, and then going back to chiropractic and the nerve system, which controls everything else, right?
It only makes sense.
Anything you want to button up here?
It's our terrain, it's our system, it's the entirety of all these things. It's systems theory, right? We can't just hyper focus on the liver or the lymph or one of those systems. We have to look at the whole entire system, and when we do, it starts to open doors, and we can get there. We can detox.
Man, we've zoomed in, we've zoomed out, we've talked about philosophy, we've talked action steps. I think we've covered our bases here with this long old talk. Just a reminder that true health is within. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Dr. Cade. This is Coach Cason.
You.
Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas, everybody. God bless you.
God bless.
Thank you for your support. See you later.